The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect those of the Barbers Chat Network, our great partners at H&B Media, or any of our media peers. We're just five idiots who love sports and love to talk shit. If you're offended easily, then this show isn't for you. And for those of you who aren't offended easily, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Remember, it's only entertainment.
So cool.
Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold. My agent just said we made 100 flat. Make it back and make it stack just like I'm Steven Jack. Put my rings up in the camera like I needed that. Up in the air and at the rim is where I meet them at.
So cool.
Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another edition of I'm Not Gonna Hold You, Man. I am your host, Scott. It is Monday, February 24th, 2025. Of course, y'all know where to follow me on all social media platforms. That is at Barber Chair Scott on all social media platforms. Follow the Barber's Chair at Barber's Chair Co. on Twitter and Instagram. And of course, subscribe to our Patreon. Patreon.com/Barbers Chat Network. We got a whole bunch of different tiers on there, man. We got the I'm Not Gonna Hold You tier. We got the Summer Sessions tier, and we've got these 79th and House tier as well. And we've got the Barbers Chair All Access tier. That is the $10 holla. And if you subscribe to that, you get 25% off your first order at the Barbers Chair merchandise shop. That is bcnetshop.com. We got a really, really dope shirt dropping on there very, very soon, man. Of course, you can follow our partners, H&B Media, and at H&B Media TV on Twitter, and at H&B Media on Instagram, man. We've got a packed show for y'all today. The 2-week break is over. We are going to be here with y'all twice a week, every week throughout the NBA Finals. So that's like, 4 months in general? So no days off. And we'll be going on here, man. So the homie Toastin will be joining us in hour 2. We're going to talk some NBA because we're shifting our focus to the NBA as well, man. But let's bring in my co-host for the day. We've got JR Bang in the house. We've got Courtney in the house as well. You can follow Courtney at 1-800-CALLA-BRO on all social media platforms. Bang is in the green room and Bang is on the phone right now. Take care of business, so he'll join us in just a second. Courtney, how you feeling?
I'm fantastic. I'm happy to be back, man. It's I'm glad to be back.
I am too. We got our super producer Nikhil in the background producing everything. Dante's not here because Dante doesn't come to work anymore. So he will be joining hopefully sometime next week. Allegedly, he's joining us next week. We were talking about podcast trades because I was watching the last Joe Budden podcast and they were talking about podcast trades. And I said, we're gonna put Dante on the trading block. Anybody who got some draft picks out there, cash considerations, hit your boy up. We're going to talk about that, man. So shout out to everybody watched us on Twitter, Instagram, both YouTube pages that we on, man. But it says Steve Smith, a wicked man. Yeah, we're going to talk about.
We got to unpack that one.
We're going to talk about Smitty soon. Orlando ain't even been 5 seconds, and then you already shooting from the logo. Okay. But we got a packed show to talk about. But what did you do these last couple weeks that we've been off there?
Well, I was enjoying some time away from work. I was on vacation, so I went to Napa. That was different. Would I ever go back? Probably not. Because mainly I'm like, I can get wine at the grocery store. So this is cool and everything. This is cool and everything to see, where it comes from, but didn't move me like it did that dude in Sideways. It didn't have that same.
I always wanted to go to Napa, but that's not like you have to take somebody with you. Like, that's
Yeah,
not a
and like
guy's trip.
it's kind of out of the way. Like
Yeah.
you fly into like either San Jose or San Francisco. You still got to drive like an hour to get up there. And yeah, like I said, it's really just out of the way. It's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Lovely little town. Found some cool antiques while I was there that I brought home with me. And by antiques, I mean vintage copies of Sports Illustrated. They were very cool. They were very cool. One's got Daryl Strawberry on it. And I can only imagine the things that magazine has seen. Very
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like how much cocaine has that scene? Anything with Daryl Strawberry on it. And I know he's a changed man right now.
Correct. But no,
Yeah,
no, I just I hung out. I got to watch Four Nations. I don't know how many people out there watched the NHL Four Nations tournament. Hopefully you tuned into that over that god awful All-Star game. I don't want to be like that. Oh my God, please like my sport person. But hopefully Four Nations, open some more eyes to the sport. Because shit is good. It's good content.
And we've got Bang back in the building. At JR Bang on all social media platforms. Man, new episode of First Black Champ is on the podcast feeds right now. Check that out, man. Bang, I was gonna say how you feeling, but I know how you feeling. But let the people know how you feel.
Hey, man, a lot of work. A lot of work is going on, fam. But we out here. We good.
What did you do on your 2 weeks off? When I say off, because you were doing other shit.
Working.
Working. Taking control of the rest of media in the Midwest.
Working and potting still. So I ain't really had no break. I was still out here doing episodes of Some Dude in First Black Champ.
And Summer Sessions, which we've done 3 episodes in a row now. Hey, that never happened. So we got another one coming to y'all on Wednesday. Pappy should be back from his London trip. One of this nigga IG yesterday, like, nigga, are you at Studio 54? What club you at? They got dancers. Like, they was doing the whole fucking number from that Beyonce song. What's that? What? Not Beyonce, Destiny Child. On their last album before Beyonce was like, all right.
So Survivor or Bootylicious or some shit?
That Can You Keep Up joint?
I don't know that joint.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that joint. Yeah. I was like, nigga, you in Studio 54?
Actually, I forgot about that song.
So he'll be joining us on Wednesday, as I know he wants to defend that Drake and Party album. But anyway,
that was awful.
I'm glad a woman says that. Go ahead.
Okay. Let me chime in as the I'm not J.Cole on some Rodney King, like, can we all just get along shit? I'm just saying, I like Drake. Can we stop trying to make Party Next Door happen?
Yes.
Can we please? I'm so sorry. He does not make good music. It was so bad. And I was like, maybe I need to be in the right mindset. First time I tried listening to it, I was going on a little hot girl walk, put on my little yoga pants. I was like, maybe I'm not in the right place. So then I listened to it after the shower while I was getting ready for martinis with the girls. This is supposed to be the vibe. Nope. It did not move me. Twice. It was
glad
terrible.
You said that. I'm glad you said that, because we've heard a lot of, well, it's not for niggas, which I hate, by the way. You know what's music I like that ain't for niggas.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you're Drake, man, and you get your ass beat like you did, you gotta come better than that. I was just you gotta come better than that. I was so disappointed.
Orlando, meet your Padres. No, nigga,
no.
It's not. It's disrespectful. This is, and I said this on Summer Sessions. It's not enough. It's not enough. But we're not gonna talk about one waffle colored Negro. Let's talk about the other one. And my rant, real quick, before we get to the business. The light skinned delegation is looking bad, and I can't really say light skinned because both of these niggas got white mamas. So really, that's not even. I'm not a part of that. But the issue I had, by the way, the last couple weeks, I really didn't watch any sports outside that terrible All-Star game. I started an Ozark rewatch. The first time I watched Ozark, I have not watched it since the ending 3 years ago when the show went off because I did not like that final episode. So I was like, let me rewatch. There's nothing else really going on right now. And I find myself siding with Wendy Bird a lot more than I originally did the first time. I don't know if that's good or not. But J.Cole, I'm going to expand more on this on Summer Sessions this week. But I'm fed up. I'm fed up of him and the way he exited the beef probably almost a year ago at this point. And now wants to put out a new record. And we got fans trying to give you a pass for that. I'm not honoring it, bro. One thing, as much as I give Drake, he never ducks a fade. Now he got his chest caved in the last 2 times he came outside, but at least he comes outside. J.Cole, don't be coming outside. You can't say, oh, I didn't know it was gonna be this deep. Nigga, you're 40 years old. You know the history of rap beef. You know where it can go. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need somebody else like Schoolboy Q to tell you, hey, you might want to sit this one out. You can't, you said Kendrick milking this shit. He's not milking anything. Shut the fuck up. You're not milking anything when you can't punch a nigga. And then when he punch you back, say you punched me too many times. Get out of there. That's number one. And number two, and we never heard of milking until Aubrey. Y'all can maybe go on a rant before we go on the show. Milking. This nigga diss Meek Mill for 24 calendar months. I don't want to hear it, okay? But J. Cole, man, enough. I don't care how good he raps. I don't care about all the different records he can put out, bro. You can't jump out on the porch and then when niggas like, oh, I don't know, it's getting rougher than I thought it was. You want to sit down. I don't respect it. I don't respect people's response to it at all. I'm just enough, bro. We allow too much stuff to go under the radar in hip hop. I'm tired of it. Enough of it. Nobody's career got ended. If you look at Billboard right now, Drake and Kendrick have 2 of the top 5 albums in the country. That don't look like somebody's career got ended. When you look at the top 5 of Billboard, Kendrick owns 4 of them 5. So it's something that, you know, it is what it is. You got to keep going, bro. Like, if you lose, you lose. He said he KO'd him, beating up a dead man. You don't say that my child is really the kid of my best friend and say that I beat up my wife ain't gonna tell me when I gotta stop swinging. Get out. I don't know where y'all niggas was raised. That don't happen where I'm from. So anyway, I'm gonna expand more on that on Summer Sessions on Wednesday. You might want to subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Barbers Chat Network. But anyway, y'all here to listen to us talk about sports, not hip hop. So we're gonna talk about sports. It is time for the local hour here on I'm Not Gonna Hold You. Oh, we know it's been a rough day. Bang didn't send the music. Bang didn't know the cue.
No, I've been trying to hit the goddamn mute. It is the local hour.
There we go.
Local hour.
I was like, that's literally why I come here. Respectfully.
You trying to hit the damn button and shit, and it just won't hit.
Yeah,
like that's where I was at.
That's where you was at. You said I was waiting for it. I was like, okay, no. Look,
you saw my face. I'm sitting there just
having himself a case of the Mondays.
Yeah,
we all have it. We all have a case of the Mondays, but we are here, man. Now we gonna talk some Bears stuff. Gonna talk a little bit of Cubs and Sox. Get opinions on that. But let's start with the Bears, man. The Chicago Bears. We are about 2.5 weeks away from the official start of free agency in the NFL, or the legal tampering period, where everybody can start talking to different players, see what they're going to add to the team. But cuts have already begun, as Ryan Poles has announced that they are cutting tight end Gerald Everett and defensive end DeMarcus Walker from the roster, man. And a lot of people have been saying, oh, what does this mean? They're saving $10 million. Does that mean a big move is coming? Does that mean they're going to go out there and try to trade for Myles Garrett? That means they're going to go out there and try to trade for a Max Crosby, or go out there and make a big signing. I look at it like this. I don't know if that's the signal to anything, because even with Myles Garrett, I think it's going to be a while before he actually gets traded. I'm pretty sure that, well, the Browns have said they do not want to trade him. You're going to have to give up the farm to get him. And I always said at this particular moment for the Bears, I don't think that would be a smart trade. And let's be very clear, if they did trade for Myles Garrett, I'm not going to be up here upset. Myles Garrett is a generational talent. But I would hope that they address the offensive line, which I've been beating over the head all offseason. I'm gonna keep saying it. Address the offensive line. The defensive line might have to be a little bit middle of the road this year. Caleb Williams is your number one responsibility. Caleb Williams is the one you need to keep upright. He got sacked like 68 times last year, and I think I saw a stat that he avoided 50 sacks, which is insanity. So you got to keep him up straight. If you look at the way if the Eagles won the championship, just any championship in the NFL, especially over the last 10 years, it's all about the trenches and the offensive line. Why did the Chiefs lose this game 2 weeks ago? Because they couldn't protect Patrick Mahomes. It's just that simple. And we were able to see that even the best quarterback in football right now can be ineffective even with a crappy offensive line. So you need to be worried about that. So I don't really know if it signals anything. I see some people were upset saying, well, why are we giving up depth before we know who's going to be available? Look, man, DeMarcus Walker, I guess he's a cool dude. I mean, I've run into him a couple times, never had an actual conversation with DeMarcus Walker, but let's be real. He's a bench guy. He's a bench guy. He's solid for depth, but you're going to be looking for a guy who can be on the other side of Montez Sweat. You're going to be looking for a guy who can be your starting everyday 3-tech, which as much as I like Gervon Dexter, he's not a starting everyday 3-tech. He's just not. So why keep a guy who's middle of the road when you can save some money and try to find a way to bolster that defensive line? So I really don't care about that. I didn't see too many Bears fans, losing it over there. I only saw a little, but we're still in the beginning process before Bears Twitter annoys the hell out of me because I know it's coming. Like you're saying, he said bunch of D Walker type players.
Yeah, may I say something?
No, go ahead.
As the resident outsider, how could anybody be upset about anybody on this team, being cut or anything? The team, you won 5 games last season. Everybody should be fucking available. Respectfully, it should be an all hands on deck fucking fire sale type situation. Am I crazy?
No, you're 100% right. Like, I think that
about that. And I said, how can bro had what, like 3.5 sacks last season? How could we really be?
Yeah. This thing about Bears fans that you got to understand, they're panicky for no reason whatsoever. They're used to I even seen some people, and we'll get into Trey Smith in a minute. Are we really trying to give Trey Smith $20 million? You're like, it's not your money, my nigga. Like, and I feel that everybody keeps bringing up how much money the Bears have. To me, it's not a good sign if your general manager's in his 4th year and he still got great cap room. That just means you ain't spent nothing, nigga. Like that. That ain't saying, you got good restraint.
Like $80 million right now, right?
Yeah. I think the Raiders only have more than the Bears.
Yeah, that should be able to get you just about whatever the fuck you need on defense.
Yeah. Yeah,
you're probably going to draft defense as well, right?
Well, I think they'll draft defense if they go heavy offensive line in free agency. To me, I'm not even looking at a position player into the 3rd round. Them, what 3? We got 2 second rounders, 1 first rounder. Them 3 picks need to be linemen, O lineman or D lineman. That's what it's got to be. And Shane, you're right. Bears PTSD. Bears PTSD is a thing that, and I understand where I gotta keep saying, I understand where it comes from, but eventually you gotta let that go and think about what's right in front of you. Gerald Everett, I don't blame him for the poor year he had. I blame the offensive scheme. He was supposed to be somebody who was a goal line threat, and they never used him. Like, I can't even name 5 receptions or 5 plays that he made. I think that he'll be good on another team. All season. You said what?
Yeah, 8 catches.
Yeah, 8 catches, and I think most of them was like 3rd down catches.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Like, I don't even remember. And
a screen.
In LA, he was a end zone threat. That's what they were hoping for him to do. So, but I'm not mad at that. My hot take is I don't think Cole Kmet gonna be on this thing. That's my hot take. He don't seem like a Ben Johnson style tight end to me. That's just what I think. But Bane, what you think about these cuts? What do you think this signals, if anything?
I don't think it signals too much other than they just looking to make changes. Gerald Everett didn't fit, and Walker didn't probably necessarily fit what Dennis Allen was looking for. This is a whole new staff right now. So when you look at everything, you're now looking at who was on the pass regime and who don't fit as we come in. When you look at Dennis Allen and what he had in New Orleans and when he had at the Raiders, They don't necessarily fit. Walker does not do the same things that Cameron Jordan or Max Crosby do. So if anything, it makes me look at people like Max Crosby and see if he could be had. It makes me look at somebody like Trey Hendrickson, who people think may be traded. It makes me look at people like those and see if they could be a fit more for this defense, and they go after players like that. Just two players that didn't fit what they was trying to do.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, Courtney, we know you was talking about everybody should be up for grab. What do you think about what do you think a major, should they go for a major move like a Myles Garrett if something like that is on the table?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, I know that that's kind of like a special case, right? Like Myles Garrett is Myles Garrett. Like it should, everybody should be trying to get Myles Garrett. But the Bears having, I mean, listen, I know more of the issues were on offense, right? In that offensive line. But I mean, defense was not exceptional all year, right? So yeah, absolutely. Fuck yeah. Just how much is it gonna cost you, right?
Yeah, that to me is the number one thing. Yeah,
like
how much
loves to trade picks.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if it's everybody keep bringing up the Khalil Mack trade from 7 years ago now. What the fuck? Time be flying. 7 years ago, that was different. Obviously, Caleb was a better quarterback than Mitchell Trubisky, but they had a better offensive line at the time. And this is something that they were able to give up more picks than the Bears are right now. If you get Myles Garrett, you better have really cleaned house in free agency. Like, that's just something where I feel like Max Crosby, if you're gonna go that route, would be a more of a realistic target, something that's not gonna cost as much. And like Orlando says, we're not a Myles Garrett away from the Super Bowl. And if you're Myles Garrett too, not saying that he really has the size where he wants to go, I'm pretty sure he wants to go to a contender. The Bears still got a lot more to prove. One thing I will not be doing this offseason would be the opposite of last season. I don't care if they trade for Myles Garrett, have the most perfect draft offseason ever. You niggas are not fooling me. I have to see it on the field. I'm just not doing it anymore. I'm not going through training camp and saying, oh yeah, they had some great practices. No, nigga, I need to see it on the field. And that to me is where it starts right now. I'm willing to see every move possible that they're going to make. So that brings me to our next topic, man. We talking about Trey Smith of the Kansas City Chiefs. One of their star guards, man, out there. It is sounding more and more like he is actually going to hit free agency, something that we have heard for a couple months. I know Phil Yates has said it a couple months ago. Well, not a couple months. Well, like at the beginning of January, almost a couple months ago, that he felt that he was going to hit free agency. I'm always kind of wary about top offensive linemen hitting the market because it's like quarterbacks. Like, they rarely hit the market. If they do, there's something wrong. But with the Chiefs, they got so many other people they got to pay. You're going to have to pay Patrick Mahomes again soon. You got other ways they're going to try to fill up the roster. You got to figure out how you can make moves. So some people are going to actually be sacrificial lambs, and it sounds like Trey Smith is one of them. And there's been a lot of rumors right now that he's probably going to be the Bears' day one free agent signing. He's probably going to ask for 20-25 million a year. Like I said, it's not money. My money, I do not care. That is the guy that you need to get right away. There's some solid offensive line options that are going to be available. This is not something I think is going to be announced as soon as free agency opens, because he is going to have a lot of suitors. There's going to be a lot of teams who need offensive linemen. You can name a team like the Patriots. They got a lot of money. But I think the familiarity with Ryan Poles, who was there when Trey Smith was drafted, because of his time in Kansas City, might be something he's looking out for. And Chris, that's a good one. Trey Hendrickson, definitely, if you're trying to add to defensive line, somebody won't be as expensive as a Myles Garrett. That's a good one too. But Trey Smith, he's familiar with Ryan Poles, and I think a lot of people are gonna want to be on a team that Ben Johnson is head coaching. And I think there's going to be something that's very, very interesting to see. He's going to have a market, but I think the Bears need to pay him. That needs to be the first signing. Like how last year, first thing we get out was, DeAndre Swift. It needs to be Trey Smith in this particular situation, and then build around that. If you can get you 2 guards in free agency, draft you a center, draft you a left tackle. I think that's something you can build on, because now you've already got Darnell Wright as right tackle. That to me is how I hope they move in the early parts of free agency. Courtney, what do you think about Trey Smith? What do you think about offensive linemen in general hitting the market? And this is somebody the Bears should target.
I mean, the Chiefs have like no cap room, right? Like they're cooked. And that's probably the only reason why they can't. I know they couldn't. Would this even be it? No. I mean,
they could tag them, but I don't think they're. Yeah, I don't think they're doing that.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I guess it's a big risk, right? Because obviously there's a lot of gaps still left for the Bears that they have to fill. He can't play all five slots, right? So, I mean, it's a good start, but you really have to like nail the draft if you're going to do something like that in Chicago.
Right? Yeah, I don't think you have to nail it per se, but I think this is going to be something that has to help. You know what I'm saying? Because the one thing about the Bears is terrible. All 4 spots you need to upgrade. Like the only one that's solidified is Darnell Wright. I know a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, the up down year last year." When you're the only nigga on the offensive line blocking,
I mean, I think he's a great fit schematically, of course, with Ben Johnson. And especially if you're trying to establish the run for sure. But I don't know, man. Bears got a lot of shit that needs to be fixed.
It's a lot of work.
So when I hear about one person, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a great start. What now?
Yeah, that's it. Right. I think that's got to be part of the plan. It can't be your whole plan. You can't go in there, pay Trey Smith $20-25 million, and you're like, okay, we're done. Moving on. Like, no. Yeah. There's got to be a bigger plan.
Is Josh Sweat a free agent?
100%.
If the Eagles don't re-sign him?
Yeah, if he's the unrestricted free agent. Yeah. That's who I want as well. Like, that's why I'm really like, I love the Ben Johnson hiring, obviously. This is something we've been saying as Bears fans for a year. We got what you wanted. My eyes on Ryan Post, because he got a lot to prove to me and a lot of other Bears fans. Bang, what do you think about Trey Smith, the rumors about him, coming over here? Do you think this is something that the Bears should go get right away?
Yeah, I don't get when people talk about me, and no, Courtney, don't take this the wrong way. I'm not aiming at you. I just hate when people say, well, hey, you pay $20 million, you got to ace the draft. If you pay $10 million, you need to ace the draft. Like the amount of money you spending, the amount of money you spend in free agency don't mean that you could go lax on the draft. Like you need to hit on everybody you get, and there's rarely a situation where you will hit on everything that you have. You got the money. You fill the holes that you need to fill. And right now, the Bears have an immediate need in the middle of their offensive line. They need both guards. They need the center position taken care of. That's going to help Darnell Wright. And if Braxton Jones is healthy, it's going to help him. Let me ask y'all this, since we got a hit. All right, you look at the draft right now. Do you go with somebody that has a track record and is one of the better guards in the NFL, or do you go get somebody unproven? Either way it go, you gotta hit. Either way it go, y'all.
I guess what my thinking was is that the Bears haven't really proven themselves being willing to pay that kind of money. Am I crazy? Again, I'm not.
No, they paid that. So they spent that.
If I'm wrong.
Yeah, the Bears have spent. The Bears is not a cheap organization.
Yeah, they're not cheap. They're just spending in the wrong areas.
Yeah, okay. And so that's my thing. Are they in a position to where they're going to want to take that risk again?
No, they've done that. They've done that. If you go back to the Lovie Smith days, just using this for an example, if you go back to the Lovie Smith days, Reuben Brown was a big offensive signing for him, and he turned out to be one of the better He turned out to be one of the better offensive linemen in the NFL with him, and they shored up an offensive line that also included Olin Kreutz. Look, you have the one place that Ryan Poles has not invested in totally is the offensive line. You go out there and you get you a Trey Smith, and maybe you could go out there and get you an experienced center to take the reins, and then you could go in the draft and find you another offensive lineman, because you spent that money before the draft has gotten here. It can change your perspective of what you need to go out there in the draft, instead of having to go out and spend a whole bunch of money in the interior. Spend a lot of draft compensation on the interior lineman. Now you can say, hey, I could go out and give me a defensive end, or I could go in and get me a luxury pick, because I've spent this money on the offense and defensive side of the ball. Because, I've seen a lot of reports that said that the Bears not only are going to go after Smith, but they are going to go after Josh Sweat. They're going to go after defensive and offensive linemen. So that means in the draft, now you can pivot and say, hey, let me go find me a young edge rusher that can be mentored by this guy, or let me go and find me they do need help at the running, probably still need help at the running back position. And maybe Genty is somebody that could be available for him if they invest in the offensive line, because now you have a cheap running back that you could go ahead and use with Swift, or you let Swift go. Like, a lot of the good thing about the NFL, and I messed this up a couple of weeks ago, is that free agency is first. Being that free agency is first, you do what you need to do right here. There's going to be a lot of conversations at the combine this week between players, agents, and teams with teams. But once free agency gets done, then we go to the draft. Now you'll have all of the pieces in place to know what you have to go out there. So if Trey Smith is available and he wants to come to the Bears, I know the track record of that man. I am happy with that. If Josh Smith wants to come to the Bears, I am happy with that. We got the money to go ahead and get both of them and still upgrade on the center side of the position. I am one of those people that said that Gervon Dexter didn't have a bad season at all. It was just not – he just hit a wall, but end up getting back to it at the end. If you have Montez Sweat, Josh Sweat, and Gervon Dexter in the middle, I think Dennis Allen is going to be very happy. Yeah. And then we see what we need to do. We see what we need to do on the linebacker with the linebackers. You can spend money because Caleb is on his rookie contract, and you ain't got to worry about paying him for the next 3. There you go, user. You ain't got to worry about paying him anything for the next 3 years. So get to it now.
Yeah, and to piggyback off what you're saying, you got to know that there's pressure on Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles know there's pressure on him. You just took all this money and you paid Ben Johnson, who's now already one of the top paid coaches in football. You think Ben Johnson came over here not for these niggas to spend money? Like, I think the number one thing that I'm confident about as a Bears fan is that he's going to be in the room. I forgot who asked it, but somebody asked it on the night the day that he was introduced to the Bears media, and he's like, "Yeah, I will have some voice on roster decisions." And Kevin Warren said the same thing. So I'm confident that how they talk about Ian Cunningham was one who would tell Ryan Poles, "Chill out, you being too thirsty." And glad to have you back, Ian. Even though I wish you were gone, so we get that third second rounder. But regardless, you got people in there who can probably help stop Poles from being himself. And I think Trey Smith is the first perfect domino to go after. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be able to build. There's got to be some type of plan. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I feel like last year he was too hell-bent on the fact that I've got a quarterback, or I'm about to get a quarterback, and that's going to make the rest of the team so much better. And I think he learned his lesson. Well, I hope he learned his lesson. I'm gonna say this before we move on to baseball real quick. I know, Bang, you don't have any takes on this, but the Bears in general, man, this is I'm watching everything. You got the defensive holes. We talked about guys like Khalil Mack might be somebody they might try to bring over. There's been some interest there, according to Brad Biggs this morning. Joey Bosa is going to be released. I would stay away from Bosa because of the injury history. I personally, now Biggs said that he would stay away from Khalil Mack because he said he feels like that would be the defensive version of signing Keenan Allen. And he does think that Khalil Mack will have better offers. I think Khalil Mack is going to sign with a contender. He's 34 years old, which in football defensive end years is 44 years old. I think it wouldn't surprise me if he went to a Philly or a Buffalo or, Kansas City or something.
I mean, he played football at Buffalo.
Said the pressure on Foles when they have looked like second-term Obama.
Hey.
Right, exactly.
Khalil Mack did play college football where?
Boston College?
Buffalo.
Boston College? Oh, Buffalo. That's
Buffalo.
right, Buffalo. He was in Buffalo. Yeah, that's a good point. I thought you were talking about Rampo. I'm like, yeah, but yeah, you're right. So he played at Buffalo, so that could be one as well. He said should have known Ian wasn't getting that job when I saw his interview suit with the Jags. Well, did you see the suit that who's that new Liam Cohen had on? That thing was tripping, but
Duval.
yeah, Duval. So if they did sign Khalil Mack, outside of the nostalgia factor and Khalil Mack being one of my favorite Bears, you gotta get sign a Josh Sweat with that or draft a younger guy for that to make sense. If that's your only sign, then to me you're doing it backwards. So I'm looking at everything they're gonna be doing. We're gonna talk about baseball a little bit here, man. We'll talk about the Chicago Cubs. 2025 expectations. With the Cubs this year, man, they, as you see on the screen, Kyle Tucker was the guy they traded from the Houston Astros. They signed another former, well, not former, because Kyle Tucker still is great, but former great Justin Turner. He's on the Dodgers, whole bunch of other teams, Red Sox. They signed him to a nice, reasonable deal over on the north side, man. And I really feel like what we're learning about the situation from the Cubs is that Jed Hoyer is only doing what the Ricketts are allowing him to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like he gave, well, I forgot what he said. You know, when your mother used to give you some money back in the day, like, oh, that's not enough. Make it enough. Like, that's what Ricketts is doing to the Cubs right now. Giving them a budget that at least keeps them fake competitive, but not enough to really put them up there with the Dodgers and any of these other contenders. Courtney, what do you think should be the expectation for Cub fans for this upcoming season?
Listen, I've been thinking about this since, you sent the rundown, and I've been staring and I'm looking at this freaking, I'm looking at their 40 man right now. And I want Cubs fans to be optimistic because even I'm slightly optimistic that this team could be intriguing. But again, I said it before, I feel like there's a lefty reliever that needs to fit in there somewhere. I mean, and also every time I think that the Cubs are going to do something, Milwaukee still wins the division. It's like the Cubs, it's a very winnable division. That's the most frustrating thing for me as a baseball fan, not a Cubs fan, right? So just as a baseball fan, it's such a winnable division. So knowing that you're an organization like that has the money that they do and they don't spend it to get themselves over that hump, because as we've seen, obviously last year, and even actually, no, last year was not necessarily an anomaly. Obviously, the Dodgers had the money to spend on players like Freddie Freeman and Shohei Ohtani, and that obviously sets you over the edge. But, we've seen in baseball that it's very easy to a degree for a team to just get hot in the postseason. All you got to do is just get in. So knowing that an organization like the Cubs could very easily spend the money to put themselves over that hump and at least make it into the postseason pisses me off. Wouldn't be shocked if they had the same record as last season, honestly, which, if I'm not mistaken, was like 83-72.
Yeah, it was something like that.
83-72. I mean, fans, listen, Kyle Tucker signing, fantastic. Great looking outfield now. Like, I know a lot of people were upset that they didn't re-sign Cody Bellinger, which, listen, I was always a big Belly fan. I got no beef with Cody Bellinger, but, he's kind of fallen off in recent years. They still have a nice defensive outfield in PCA. Hopefully, if he kind of figures it out at the plate, then maybe there might be some upside there.
Yeah.
And the Brewers have even taken a step back this season. There's no more Willie Adames. He went to San Francisco. There's no more Devin Williams. He went to New York. So, they took a step back, right?
Yeah,
you should be taking the next step forward. And so the willingness for them to not do that. And listen, they could say, oh, they were right in on Alex Bregman right up until the very end. Listen, and he's a rookie, so it's unfair to put that kind of pressure on Matt Shaw, coming in for 140 plus games a year this year and possibly contending for NL Rookie of the Year, which is very possible. I think Matt Shaw if he is who we think he is, could absolutely come in. Gary, we're gonna get to that in just a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna get that in just a second. I mean, I pick you. I mean, everything you're saying, I agree with. To me, if I was a Cub fan, I would be pissed off, man. Like, look, the moves or whatever. I think on paper, like you said, this team should compete. They should win this division on paper. But the NL Central is a weird division. You have teams who don't really have good rosters, but they're competing. The Brewers are a team like that. The Cardinals are a team like that. The Pirates have some really good young players over there. So it's like I could see this being down to the wire. But when you
and now keep in mind that they changed how the divisions play each other, so it's not just a whole bunch of games.
So what did they change now? How did they change it?
No. They didn't just change it this season.
Oh, you talking about from a couple years ago? I got you saying, yeah.
You know, so now it's not them just beating up on each other,
right?
As much as, so now you got to play other more competitive teams. Yeah, it's just frustrating to know that they could absolutely afford that. You can't cry broke in one of the largest media markets in the country.
And that should be the annoying part of your Cubs fan. They're not playing, even though the Yankees don't move like the Yankees anymore. They still spend a lot more money than the Chicago Cubs.
Correct.
You know, the Red Sox were able to get Bregman, and you guys didn't get them. We already know the Dodgers don't. The Los Angeles Dodgers are run by Marty Bird. They are a money laundering front. That's who the Los Angeles Dodgers are. Are they better?
And that's why people were so mad, and it's actually going to segue perfectly into what we're talking about with Justin Ishbia, right? Is people don't want hedge funds in sports because it's almost like a bottomless pit of money. That's why Reinsdorf didn't want Steve Cohen coming into baseball because he didn't want to be forced to spend more money, because it's like, well, wait, they're spending money. Why can't you do that? You know, fans revolt. We're seeing it right now on the South Side.
And that's the thing, too. I'm going to get to that in just a second. But, like, when it comes to people complain about the Dodgers all the time, it's like, that's what you're supposed to do. Like, I always know, we talk about it on this show and everywhere, that a lot of people who own sports teams do not care about winning. To me, if you're going to invest that kind of money into something, why wouldn't you try to win? You're going to make more money if you win. Yes, you're going to have to spend more. But you think the Dodgers care about whatever they spent? With all the money that's going into games, people going to Dodger Stadium, merchandise, all those home playoff games they had last year, Magic Johnson, Peter Guber, their whole ownership team, they're rolling in dough.
And also to quote what someone said, the Dodgers do have a fantastic media deal, like absolutely. But you know who gets to eat off some of that media deal? Other teams within the NL West. So the fact that the Diamondbacks have absolutely, you know, they signed Corbin Burns, and now, you know, who's going to start on opening day, Zach Allen or Corbin Burns? Who knows? Can't wait for that, actually. Other teams who maybe aren't necessarily making the sort of splashes that they should be to get themselves over the hump. It's just not happening because for these billionaires, it's profitable for them to still have a losing team. And listen, as someone who has interacted with Ken Kendrick, owner of the fucking Diamondbacks before, that is not a man who is trying to win. He is not an all in to win kind of guy. If it doesn't involve fucking getting Donald Trump to the presidency or other Arizona Republicans elected, which is exactly what's happening on the North Side with the Ricketts family, if it doesn't involve getting more politicians into power so they can keep making their billions, then they do not care. And it's still profitable to run a losing franchise.
And that's what I told Cub fans a couple years ago. I said, when y'all won that championship, y'all better hope y'all enjoyed it. He closed the pocketbook after that. And if I would be so irritated. Look at the NL.
They're going to be eating off that 2016 World Series.
As long as the White Sox been eating off the 05 Sox. Next year's the 10-year anniversary of that Cubs team. You better enjoy Chris Bryant and them niggas coming out. And that's all you're going to get. But I look at it like this. They're obviously not better than the Dodgers. They're not better than the Padres. They're not better than the Mets. I'm pretty sure I'm missing a couple up. They're probably not better than the Braves. So many things have to go right for the Cubs for them to compete outside of their division. And
I'm looking at their rotation alone and their bullpen alone, and they have to hit on a lot of things. And like, listen, I'm very big on Porter Hodge. There should be their closer, but they got Ryan Presley. But Ryan Presley gets a little shaky.
But you know how we were talking about trenches with football, bullpens, and baseball. I've got no faith in this bullpen that the Cubs have. None.
No,
Like
I'm not sold.
yeah,
I'm not sold by
whatsoever.
any means.
Like if you can have good start, like I think they started pitching solid. There's a couple guys that I like on there, but every baseball game for the most part is decided in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. Who's gonna be your guys? You spend all that stuff on Presley. Presley's not closing. Yep. He's not closing. So that's what I would be worried about if I was a Cubs fan.
And Gary, what did that comment just say? I'm so sorry. He said that's why. Oh, yeah. You need an ownership that cares about winning. They're few and far between.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
and
this thing, far between.
One thing I'll say about the Bears ownership is that George McCaskey doesn't not care. He just don't know how to build, how to hire the right people. Now, maybe he did it this time. The jury is still out, but majority, every other ownership in the city don't matter. And that gets me to our final point of the local hour. We're talking about the White Sox. We all know Justin Ishbia, that's his last name? Ishbia. Him and his brother Matt run. They own the Phoenix Suns and the WNBA team, the Phoenix Mercury. And if you watch anything, Phoenix Suns, I don't know if I want that nigga running the team. I don't know what they doing over there. Kevin Durant needs to leave immediately.
And see that this is the brother though. So like,
yeah, I get it. Yeah,
is the big guy, right? And so now this one's trying to buy.
Yeah, he already has. He already has stock in the White Sox. He already has some stock. He's trying to increase his stocks, and he had the deal that he was going to agree to buy the Minnesota Twins. He backed out of it last minute, and from what I've learned about this, from what I read about it, he backed out of this because I feel like there's a path for him to be the main owner when it comes to the White Sox. You can't convince me that he just did this just to get a couple more sales. There's a path here now. The Reinsdorfs come out, said nothing's going to change and da-da-da-da-da. I speak fluent business. I don't buy anything they're saying. I'm going to put it like this before I ask you, Courtney, about your opinion on this. As a former White Sox fan, and by the way, I saw some of y'all say, don't come back now. I'll come back when I feel like it. Like, y'all don't tell me what to do. Like, them niggas won a World Series on my 17th birthday. If I want to come back tomorrow, guess what? I will do that. But there's so many things. He said Justin building 100 million compound in Connecticut. Like, there's so many things that this White Sox team has to do. Like, if they're able to get Justin to be the full-time owner, you know, they can get that new stadium they want. They can hopefully start acting like a big market team. You know, they are the second team in the third biggest market. They got to prove that they can run a team, that they can have a good rebuild and know what they're doing before I give them any type of credit. Now, for White Sox fans, this is a little light at the tunnel. He's saying about DeMario says in about 3 to 5 years to be the Sox owner. I don't even know it's going to take that long. I don't know if that nigga got 3 to 5 years left on this earth. Like for us to be going that far, if you want to be real about it, So I think there's something. I think there's some under the table deal that has been agreed to that we just don't know about, because nobody just gives up a chance to own a franchise just to get more stocks. Like, I feel like there's more to this. So yeah, I do believe the White Sox fans should be excited about the potential. Just because it's the White Sox, they're giving you nothing to be excited about in a long time. And if you see light at the tunnel, be excited about it. Just for me personally, they got a lot more to do before I'm impressed with anything. But I do find this intriguing because, I think somebody said this earlier in the quotes, that they got that trust fund money. I'm trying to see. He said Ishbia got that predatory loan money. It might be different, like they usually don't want these kind of guys in baseball, but these are the kind of guys you need running teams if you're trying to win. What does this tell you?
I'm really only moved when I hear about billionaires buying sports teams, I'm like, okay, that's fantastic. But what are they going to do? Because we already hear the talk about that ballpark specifically. What are we going to do about the ballpark? That's really what I'm curious about. There needs to be some development in that area. I'm sick of destination ballparks. Okay. I need more. Think like Atlanta with the Battery. Think like now Globe Life Field that has Texas Live around it. I need more. I'm so sick of ballparks where you just go and you park and then you go. no, unless it's like,
You want the experience around it.
Yeah. This experience, the jobs, especially if you want tax breaks, right? For all of your future business endeavors.
Well, that's actually what Reinsdorf is doing with the Bulls now. So they did the 1901 project, which is for 1901 West Madison, where the Bulls, when the Blackhawks play, has been agreed to by the city and the state. So they're going to start building up stuff around the United Center now, which is still funny because you go too far down that block, there's some travelers down there, lords out there.
Correct.
So, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be it's a thin line between the West Loop and the West Side, but that's their long-term gentrification plan over there. So I'm with you. They would, I get it, even though I think that where the White Sox play is one of the best baseball stadiums in baseball. I think they got the best food, at least the ones it's the location is not the best.
But it was difficult to get to compared to, say, Wrigley. Yeah. Because I went to both and I was like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people always be talking about, oh, it's bad over there. You know what I'm worried about in Bridgeport, nigga? It's not black people, it's the cops. Okay, like that. That's what I'm worried about when I'm in Bridgeport, the police. So I feel like this is something that we're gonna be watching over these next couple months, with ownership and deals like that. He said he won't be going to win those. Right, exactly. It's part of the whole gentrification plan that Jerry Reinsdorf was going to be doing, because he owns a lot of stuff over there. So we're interested to see what's going to happen with the White Sox, man. We're going to take a quick 1-minute break. We'll be back on the other end with Bane's going to be back with us. We're going to talk some football. This was not really football, but Steve Smith had the interwebs going crazy on Saturday. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some Matthew Stafford might be leaving LA. Talk some the combine. Combine begins tomorrow in Indianapolis, man. All eyes on the Tennessee Titans. And then later, of course, we're going to talk some basketball, man. So we're going to take a quick 1-minute break and we'll be right back.
So cool.
Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah, we code too. Getting paper on display, I hate his old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna.
And we are back here, hour 2 on I'm Not Gonna Hold You. Scott Bang, Courtney, hold it down for y'all. The homie Tosin will join us in about 30 minutes as we're gonna talk some basketball when he gets in. But we gotta talk about probably, I don't know, Steve Smith a Hall of Famer to y'all? Like, you think, Steve? I don't think they really kind of stingy with wide receivers. I don't think
he's a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer. He's not a first ballot because this was his first ballot this year. He's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he's a Hall of Famer.
Okay, Hall of Famer, Hall of Decent. Either way, Steve Smith. I woke up on Saturday and saw this funny picture we have of Steve Smith on the screen. So some guy, I don't remember the guy's name. I couldn't find. I don't know if he deleted his Twitter account or anything.
It was
Tony Martinez.
Tony Martinez, a random account. Yeah, he tweeted out these texts that allegedly is his wife texting Steve Smith. And you see this hilarious picture of Steve Smith. And you know, he said, Buddy sounded too happy on the phone, like he might be freaked out like that. I don't know. He said he got him smiling at it. He says, turn you over and get deep inside of you. And okay, let's first of all, let's get to this blasphemous comment right here. She said, deep is an understatement. It felt like you were going to rearrange my IUD. You were so deep.
Wait. Pause.
Yeah.
I'm just noticing this. She had him listed as 3 in her phone. Like,
I didn't notice that.
I just noticed it. I just noticed it right now.
I didn't know. Yeah, and had him listed as 3.
That's
so he
crazy.
definitely liked them Sandra Bullock type way. I'm not gonna put that young lady's picture on here, but she did give off work wife vibes. I cannot confirm or deny that I had a work wife who used to bring me cookies from Beverly Hills, but she definitely did look like work wife vibes for sure. But Nikhil, put up that other text thread that we got up here. He says the passion is hard to forget. Steve saying I wasn't alone with it. I can't even read some of this without laughing. She said,
I'm so uncomfortable just reading this.
Stadium full of people, and I saw you again. That nigga said, first of all, this nigga saying you with the actual you.
This is like bad smut, like what girls read on their Kindles.
Right. This is like HBO real sex in like text thread. Yeah. I'm not gonna
perfections.
Yeah, I'm not gonna read this out loud. Y'all can see this on the screen. You said erotic novel talk. Yes, that's this is bad Zane books. Yeah, remember all them girls in high school used to read Zane books? Like, I think about it as an adult. I understand why some of y'all have 4 kids. Like, I get it. It makes a lot of sense. But yeah, we can take this off the board. I just want to talk about this real quick. Steve Smith, man. You couldn't waterboard this information out of me. The IUD part is crazy. You said, go ahead, Courtney.
Yeah, he was literally, I don't know if you saw, because I'm nosy. I went to go see, did he make this Twitter exclusively for? Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
He made that Twitter exclusively to air that shit out. And every reply was under various viral tweets. So he was going under like the Golf Network's tweets that had like thousands of retweets. And he was copied the link. Like he had a lot of hate in his heart. This was very like calculated, just going to various TMZ tweets, copying the link, posting it, tweeting it. Yeti? What is Yeti gonna do?
Now,
what
obviously,
is gonna do?
He's trying to get some type of revenge here because that Steve Smith is a married man with children, and maybe he's trying to bring up a happy home. And no disrespect, I saw who he's married
clearly
to.
Is not very happy. He was cheating with that lady.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. What she thought it was, maybe. That nigga got a type. I can tell from, I was like, there's something going on here, man. Hey, you couldn't get the information out of me. One thing I love about Twitter is people putting their misery for us to laugh at. Y'all will never know what's going on in my life. I talk about sports and entertainment on my Twitter account. That is it. So maybe he was thinking, I'm gonna get you back for what you did to me, even though if my woman said that another nigga.
He hacked her Facebook too. Did you see those posts?
No, I didn't see that.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. He hacked her Facebook. Well, I don't know if it's really hacking if you have access to. I don't know how couples, sometimes couples have a shared Facebook page, which is crazy.
That's crazy.
Which
is beyond crazy.
No, he went on, and it was like, oh, my name is Nicole Martinez. Well, almost won't be Martinez. It was a whole thing. Yeah.
Bang, what's your 2 cents on this, man?
As the resident married man of the
right.
Man, look, first of all, if anything like that happened to me, or fuck all that. People got to stop going to social media to express their hurt and their pain and their sorrow about shit like this. Because quite honestly, Steve Smith, and I think Steve Smith knows this. He's just trying to save face for dude. Steve Smith ain't embarrassed by this.
No, not at all.
The person who's embarrassed by this is the person who's going on social media doing this and his wife. Like, this is nasty.
The wife for sure, especially because I couldn't tell you what my husband looks like. I couldn't tell you what he looks like. I don't put 5 minutes.
Like, is that really dude? Like, is that really dude picture? Like, honestly, when I see
etched into my memory.
Honestly, when I see stuff like this, I just think dudes like this are cucks.
Oh, 100%.
And maybe it's not watching your wife do something like this with some guy. It's you wanting to see what the reaction and the vitriol and all you getting off on that. Like, no, buddy, that's a lame. He playing himself. Steve Smith doing the right thing by keeping quiet. And the fact of the matter is that your wife did that. So you need to holler at your wife. Hey, holler at your wife. Don't holler at him. Holler at your wife.
Like,
ask your wife why.
Like, this couple things, man. One, when situations like this happen, we always blame the man. don't blame the nigga. He ain't got no loyalty to you. Like whatever he did is his wife should be mad at him. Don't blame him. It's like somebody always be mad at her. She the one who disrespected the vows. Like that's who you should be mad at. Like that's something where he's gonna be Mario Winans in the tub. Like that text, I can't stop thinking about the text, and I don't know Shorty. Like IUD, like come on, like have some shame. Like
Wesley Wall's a freak. Wesley Wall's a freak guy.
He said maybe her husband wanted Wesley Wall. Or this could be something like, we were talking about on Twitter with, Tim Hardaway was talking about he wished he could still play so he could bust Tyrese Halliburton ass. And Tyrese Halliburton.
I was today years old.
Tyrese, I knew about the story. I just forgot about it. I had to refresh my memory. But Tyrese Halliburton got a little spicy. They were telling why you really mad, Tim. Now, for those of you who don't know, Tyrese Halliburton is former NBA shooting guard Eddie Jones' cousin. Eddie Jones allegedly slept with Tim Hardaway's wife when they were teammates in the Miami Heat. And that's maybe generational hate that's going on here, man. But with this particular situation, I don't care. Like, in the grand scheme, I don't care about it. It's just something funny to watch over the weekend. This has not changed my opinion about Steve Smith at all. He's not the first athlete to sleep with somebody's wife. He ain't going to be the last athlete to sleep with somebody's wife. But stop putting your business on the internet. We're not looking at this and saying, oh, man, Steve Smith's family is going to be crushed. No, we looking like this nigga, there's something wrong with him. For you to put this, like, you could kidnap me, put me in.
I've seen this before in real time.
Oh, that's not like a Summer Sessions story.
Yeah, I won't say the player. You got to listen to Summer Sessions. I won't say the player on here, but it's a player that made his way around the city, and somebody hacked his the buddy ass hacked his wife's Facebook account, and you saw stuff between her and this Chicago athlete, and I was like, wow. But I also knew this person made the rounds because I've seen this person around many celebrities in rap and sports.
You know what's funny? I'm gonna say this and we're gonna move on. I don't know if anybody watches Entourage the way I watch Entourage. There was one particular episode about Entourage that always stood out to me, and one that stood out to me after watching this on Twitter. Well, there was an episode where Vinny didn't have a job at the moment. He wasn't shooting no movie. And he just was walking around LA trying to find random stuff to do. He ran into this girl who was at a bookstore. They slept together, and she was like, told him that she was engaged. And Vinny feeling bad. He's like, I didn't know you was engaged. She's like, oh no, you're good because we're on each other's lists. Basically saying if we run into these celebrity crushes we can sleep with them with no problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't have a list like that living in Los Angeles. I'm sorry. You just can't. And then Shorty was like, well, I hope he don't run into Cameron Diaz now. That's a high probability. Right now, I don't know where they at. I don't know where they ran into this, what happened. Are they from Baltimore or whatever? But don't be doing no stuff like that, bro. And now we gonna always laugh at you about the situation. Now your friends, your family, people don't even know about it. You have millions of people know about the situation. We're not caring about Steve Smith and what you trying to blow his stuff up. We got video of you begging another grown man to tell you why. Like, that's gonna help what your wife told him in them texts. It's just crazy to me, man. That's it. But anyway, let's move on to actual football. We're going to talk about Mr. Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams. Now, the Rams were the only team who actually gave the now Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles some legit go, in the playoffs, man. We get the support from Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero, friend of the program, Tom Pelissero. And he said this from the Rams. The Rams are giving permission for Matthew Stafford's agent to speak with other teams about his value. This is not a trade request. Instead, the Rams and Stafford can gain a better understanding of his value outside the team, potentially making it easier to get a contract done. That remains to hope that outside help can assist in gauging his market and seeing his value and the results in his return to LA. Okay, this is the thing I look at. First of all, the Rams being real cheap right here. Matthew Stafford, I think, has a $40 million bonus that's going to be added this offseason. So I'm guessing they don't want to pay that. You're the Rams. You've shown before you don't care about salary cap. You have shown the salary cap is a myth. I don't know why you're trying to be cheap with your quarterback. Your quarterback is
you're
still
already
very, very
getting
good.
rid of Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, you're already getting rid of Cooper Kupp. You know what I'm saying? You're already getting rid of Cooper Kupp, and now you're trying to get rid of your quarterback. Like, what's your option after if you plan to get rid of him? They don't have a pick that's high enough for them to get a quarterback that's in this draft right now. If you sign Aaron Rodgers, like, why? What's the point of it? I'd definitely rather have Matthew Stafford every day of the week than Aaron Rodgers. And if I'm other teams, why would I help the Rams? Like, go to hell. Like, it's gonna be like with the Lamar Jackson situation when nobody bid. Like, y'all now, I'm not gonna set his market up for y'all. Go ahead, Courtney.
Unless you're like a team that's very, very, very desperate and maybe tired of playing the rookie quarterback game like the fucking Giants.
I'm
just saying. Do the Giants really need to take another chance at drafting a quarterback?
Yes, they do. 100%. Them niggas got who I don't even know who their quarterback is right now. The Tommy Cutlets.
I think so.
I just don't know if this quarterback class enough to even risk all of that.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If you're gonna like draft somebody, man, you're absolutely right. Like, okay, yeah, who's gonna save us? Like Shedeur Sanders? And I don't mean any disrespect, but when you think about former draft classes, and again, that's no disrespect to Cam Ward either, because I don't think Tennessee should be trading shit back. I don't know if we're gonna get to that later or not.
Yeah, that's our next topic.
Yeah. We'll get into that in a bit, but yeah. I mean, if you're a team that's in desperate need of a quarterback like the Giants, then I don't think it's the worst thing to at least entertain or discuss, because I really don't think that any of these quarterbacks in the draft right now are going to save you.
Bang, what you think about this thing that the Rams are trying to pull off?
I mean, you letting somebody go and find out what their value is. You probably already know what the value is. You just want this person to go ahead and see it. This is a here nigga damn moment. Like, man, you want this money? All right, but shit, when a motherfucker tell you, you know what I'm saying, that you ain't getting nothing but this, don't come back here. And then you're going to end up being like, man, here, nigga, damn, here go your goddamn money. Shit. This is what I feel this is. If I am a team, I probably will gouge up the price just enough. Like poison pill it just enough. But when I look at the quarterbacks in this draft, it is no disrespect to Shedeur or Cam Ward, or even Jackson Dart, because I've seen some people say that he could be a potential first rounder. You're right. If this is the conversation that we having, that Jackson Dart could be a first rounder, then low key, that means that you probably don't have to do anything, because all of these quarterbacks are so close to each other when it comes to where they might be rated. Hey, man, what y'all want for Matt Stafford? We're going to pay him this. We'll give you this. Let's go ahead and get it out the way. I mean, if anything, I look at this situation where, hey, man, here, nigga, damn. I feel like I'm a quarterback guru. If I'm Sean McVay, I feel like I'm a quarterback guru, and you could give me somebody up in here, I'm straight. I heard a rumor that that Minnesota could be interested in Matt Stafford, and they could work out a trade with Sam Darnold going to L.A. And Matt Stafford going to Minnesota. If I'm Minnesota, shit, I'm making that call.
Yeah, why do I hear that? That's the first time I've heard that, Bang.
I heard that this morning.
And I'm like, that seems like a slam dunk.
I was watching TV this morning.
He's the most Kirk Cousins-esque quarterback. Obviously, he's better than Kirk Cousins, in my opinion. But, culturally, I think that that's a good fit there. Absolutely.
Well, you put Matt Stafford in Minnesota with that team right there. Yeah. Minnesota's the best team in the goddamn
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that at all. But I also kind of like that's feeling interesting, because that's me. That tells me what they think about. What's my boy from Michigan? Who they drafted?
J.J. McCarthy.
J.J. McCarthy, like
for future Nazareth
Yeah,
school.
I mean, if you're gonna have JJ McCarthy, though, wouldn't that be like optimal guy you'd want him to learn from?
Yeah, but
yeah.
how many years they plan on him to learn? Like didn't he learn from Sam Darnold last year? Unless he's not
That's
healthy
not.
yet.
No, we're not gonna do that.
I mean,
That's
you're a
crazy.
rookie. You're a rookie though. Like you
Yeah,
learned it from somebody.
he gonna need another year before he step out on that field.
Correct, especially since he was hurt all last season.
So I think this also has to go with how long is Matt Stafford planning on playing.
And that's what I'm saying. I think Matt Stafford probably only has about 1 or 2 seasons just left in him because he was entertaining retirement for his wife's Instagram. So yeah, I think he's got a good. Yeah, I know we had that talk.
Well. That's another person who be disrespecting they nigga on in front of company. Miss the Georgia quarterback to get back.
Deal and let him ride off into the sunset,
Riding off in the sunset in Minneapolis over riding in the sunset in Los Angeles is nasty.
Well, hey, I mean, if they're not going to give him the money that
I get it. I
see an easy scenario where Matthew Stafford is getting 2 years, $100 million, which is crazy.
I think I'm just confused I think I'm just confused in what's LA's angle. Like, it's not even about Stafford for me. It's what's LA's angle here. If you really are trying to cut costs and move him, what's your long-term plan? Are you starting over? Is Sean McVay trying to stay to be starting over? There's rumors about him retiring as well. Him and Aaron Donald were going to retire the same year, but Aaron Donald decided to play one more year to run it back. Then he sat down. What's McVay's future? I just don't understand a team who obviously did not care about spending money or the salary cap just a couple years ago. Was like, you know what? We're going to get rid of our very, very good quarterback and, figure out what we're trying to do. That just don't make no sense to me, man. But we were talking about the quarterbacks in this class. I think it's perfect time to talk about the 2 main quarterbacks in this draft. That is Mr. Shedeur Sanders of the University of Colorado and, of course, Cam Ward of the U. Been a lot of conversation. That quote is hilarious on the chat. Hey, that niggas do not know how many Somalians is in Minnesota. Like, niggas is really sleep on how many. There's a lot in Minnesota. A lot of niggas don't know that, but that he said she gonna have a heart attack. I don't know who User is, but User's hilarious. Like,
they used to live in Detroit.
Nah, yeah, but Detroit just niggas though. Like, Detroit is just like, it's different than Minneapolis. Like, Detroit is
a large Arab American population.
Yeah, but Detroit, like, this thing about Detroit, I feel like Detroit gets a bad rap. I really do. Like, just because it looks like a third world country sometimes. It's if you see like something like that we just described in Minnesota, that's gonna throw you off. You see a whole bunch of niggas walk down the street in Detroit, it's any day that ends in Y. Like, that's not really going to surprise you. But you got the Titans, they got the first pick, and there's been a lot of people like you saying bang about this not being the big class that it really is. The Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward could drop. Where exactly they're gonna go? And the Titans general manager coming out saying, hey, we're not going to pass up on a generational talent just to get a quarterback. He's referring to Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter, who Abdul Carter will not be doing anything at the combine because he's still recovering from a shoulder injury. And then you got Shedeur Sanders who will be thrown at the combine, which is not shocking. I can't remember the last time any top quarterbacks really threw at the combine. It was a big mess last year by Caleb not throwing at the combine, and he just going around, helping niggas clean up on the field. And that's another thing too that I am so ecstatic about. I don't have to do 3 months. Does this quarterback want to be here? Let's talk about this quarterback's flaws. I'm glad I don't have to deal with that. But if I'm the Titans, man, I'm not saying you got to reach for a quarterback because you don't want to reach just to reach. But if you just get you Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, who I think both are very exceptional, very really great talents. I don't want to say generational anymore. What's your plan of quarterback still? Like, of course, there's been rumors about Aaron Rodgers. We know he has a house in Tennessee, but I think we need to give up the Aaron Rodgers dream of what I think people are living off what he used to be more than what he currently is. That doesn't fix anything. I think a trade down could work to get more picks, get more draft capital, and still be able to draft a Shedeur or Cam a little later on in the draft if they're still around. But I think they need to think about the quarterback position first. Courtney, what do you think about what the Titans should do?
I think the Titans should go ahead and just draft Cam Ward and call it a day. They need a quarterback. I think it'd be silly for them to entertain the idea of taking anybody besides a quarterback. And if Cam Ward is who they say he is, and who I think personally he is, yeah, you go ahead and draft Cam Ward with the top pick, and you don't trade back. If anything, the team that I'm thinking about here is the Patriots. It would make me sick to my fucking stomach if Abdul Carter fell to 4 and he just landed in the Patriots' lap.
That would be terrible.
I would be sick about it. It would be such a good fit. Like, great for him, but I would be sick to my stomach about it.
I think that there should be some concerns about his shoulder, and I don't think anybody should draft him till pick 10. I don't think that 9 picks. I think it's too risky for those 9 picks. I think he needs to be drafted at 10.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I think he needs to be in blue and navy. So Bane, what you think about what they should do, man? What do you think that the Titans should
man? I know I hate Aaron Rodgers. Y'all know how I feel about this man. But I'm taking Aaron Rodgers over any quarterback in this draft, short term or long term. I'm sorry. I am not comfortable with any quarterback in this draft being good. I look at this draft of quarterbacks the same way we now look at the trick off Trev draft. I don't see. Yep, the Zach draft. Like I'm not confident in any of these quarterbacks. But if I could get Aaron Rodgers a year off of an Achilles injury, which normally it might take about a year to really get your bearings, and in that division, which is not the strongest division, if I could go get an Abdul or go this is the Kenny Pickett draft. If I could go get a Carter, if I could go get a Hunter to shore up that defense of mine, which was not a bad, it wasn't a bad defense. It was a bad defense because the offense was that damn terrible. Like you really had to play a behind a lot, but that defense played hard. If you could get Aaron Rodgers for at least 2 years and you can wait to get you another quarterback in that weak division, I'll take that over drafting a Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. I am not in love with neither of these quarterbacks. And again, if we're talking about Jackson Dart being the first rounder possibly, that tells you a lot about this draft class.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that to an extent. I'm very high on Shedeur. As somebody who watched a lot of University of Miami football, I like Cam. I don't love Cam. I think Shedeur is pro ready. I think that definitely he's going to have some ups and downs. He's going to be rookie quarterback, and I also think he needs to go to as best system as he possibly can right now. But his arm strength is crazy, and he just really he's a professional football player, in my personal opinion. I hear you on the Aaron Rodgers thing. If that's the move they decide to go to, I wouldn't be mad at it. I do think that Rodgers has a little bit more in the tank, more than it showed last year with all the different coaching issues and stuff. But I don't know. I think Shedeur is going to be special. Maybe I'm in the minority of that.
Let me. I don't want people to think that I think that it's nothing but career backups in this draft. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is using the Raiders for an example. I ain't trading up. You're gonna have to fall. And if I am the Tennessee Titans, I'm like, if I could holler at Aaron and we good, I think I could take my chances on him for a year or two, and then let's see what this looks back. I'm not in love with this quarterback draft being like grabbing a quarterback in the first 3 picks. Like that first 3 picks. Nah, I can wait. Now,
you think there's some they can be good. They're just not like how last year was Caleb, Jaden, Drake May.
Right.
Bomani Knicks. Can't forget about Bomani Knicks.
Yeah. This ain't that. Like, this ain't that at all. This is I really think we can make it work.
Okay.
And like you said, you got to be. This is a got to be in the right system quarterback draft. I don't think that the Giants is a good. The Giants is probably not going to have their coach in their GM next year. So there's that situation right there. They need to go get a veteran. They don't need to go get a rookie. They need to win now, or at least look like they winning now. The Raiders with Pete Carroll, and that team, because you see what he did with Russell Wilson, and then you go and get you a Russell Wilson and have that person back him up, and you feel comfortable. But I also feel comfortable in believing that they wouldn't be able to take Russell Wilson's job, so we won't see you until next year. That's what I look at these quarterbacks.
Courtney, I got a question for you. Then I got one last question for both of y'all before we move on. Courtney, so you say that the Titans should take Cam. So are you saying you think Cam's NFL ceiling is higher than Shedeur?
I do, personally. That's just from someone that watched every University of Miami game this season. I'm bigger on Cam. And again, and it also has to do, it sounds terrible, but you can't, your family is your family. You got to take the good with the bad. And it's not, I'm not trying to even imply that Shedeur's family is bad. But with Shedeur comes everything else. So the microscope, not just on the quarterback position, but think about if you're the general manager, right? You have to deal with the circus that will come with it. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. You're right.
Thinking this? Because you got to think about how many different. If you don't hit on this pick, right? If you don't hit on this pick, if you're the Giants, for example, he gets taken at number 2. You don't hit on this pick. Shedeur Sanders is not the guy that you thought he was going to be, and that I'm still hoping that he will be, for the record, so no one calls me a fucking hater. Okay, I like Shedeur Sanders. I want him to do well. I'm simply saying that if his talent doesn't translate to the next level, think about everything that's at stake right now. He's already in deep shit for fucking letting Saquon Barkley walk. You think it's going to get any better about the botched Daniel Jones hiring? You fucking let Saquon Barkley go, and now you drafted another quarterback. Not only did you draft a quarterback who sucks, this is in this hypothetical scenario, he sucks, but it's Deion Sanders' son. So the hate is going to be 20 times worse from a group of fans who respectfully don't even want to probably draft a black quarterback in the first place.
Yeah, and I don't think John Mora wants to draft a black quarterback. Also, but if I'm Joe Shine, that's just how I pronounce that thing. But I mean, you kind of gotta take the risk for all the reasons you just named. You messed up on letting Saquon walk. You not only did you draft Daniel Jones, which I said, learning from experience, you don't draft a quarterback from a basketball school.
All that being said, if you're the Giants, you should absolutely still draft Shedeur Sanders. That is assuming that Cam Ward will be off the board at number 1. You should absolutely be taking Shedeur Sanders at number 2 if you are the New York Giants.
Yeah, because it's like at this point, man, you ain't got nothing to lose. Like if this fails, you're gonna lose your job anyway. So you might as well go out swinging. And that's to me what I would look at. And I'll say this last thing too about the circus. I think the circus is a little overrated just because Deion's not going to be at and again, going to be at the games. It's not going to be that type of situation. He's still a coach. But that means there's going to be that primetime Sanders effect, obviously.
Correct.
But
and
if
that's
you're in New York,
what I'm thinking about. Think about ESPN. Every single thing is going to be rehashed and regurgitated and dissected and bisected every which way until his next game. Every fucking pass dude makes is just going to be under a microscope because of who he is, the prime effect.
And also there's New York media. But I would still, like I said, if he's there, if I'm Tennessee, I still probably go. I just don't like how many times did the spend money on a potentially washed vet and build around. It's worked a couple times, but I personally would probably just take a flyer on one of those two. But we got this will not be the last time we're having this conversation. I can guarantee you that with the combine starting this week, we've been talking about this for the next 2 months. We're officially 2 months from the NFL draft today. It will be April 24th, so we'll be talking about that again. A couple more topics for. We move on to the NBA, and Courtney gets to relax for the rest of the night. ESPN and the Major League Baseball have agreed to in their partnership 3 seasons earlier. Now, this is a significant thing right here because the MLB had their best year ratings wise last year in a long time. Ratings are up 6%. Attendance is up at the ballparks, and I really feel like there's been no baseball representation on ESPN. And now this kind of really officially closed it. The NBA is just home to the NFL, the NBA, and also NHL. NHL's got a big ESPN presence now as well. I look at it like this. Even though it feels like the Sunday night baseball has not been a really good product in a couple years, I miss those days of being able to watch Sunday night baseball, watch those great games, and have that crew out there, talking to you, and just the way they used to actually present it. I feel like that's something that is going to be missing. Now, it would not shock me. I think they're going to go on and maybe sign with an Amazon. You get Amazon Sunday Night Baseball. You get maybe Apple TV, which I think Apple TV does a great job with Friday Night Baseball. Their presentation is A1. But this to me just really, it's a sad thing that you got the worldwide leader of sports not having any baseball representation. Courtney, what does this fallout between these two corporations tell you?
Yeah, I thought the framing of it was kind of funny. Rob Manfred tried to come out and frame it as if it was some like mutual decision that they made. No, ESPN came to you and said, we don't even show that many of your fucking games. And the ones that we do show, people don't watch them, besides people in those respective markets. And it's true. Baseball is an incredibly regional sport. And when you have a network that when they do decide to show baseball games, they're showing what? The Red Sox and the Yankees 7 times a year. Like, yep. And listen, as someone who loves baseball more than anything, ESPN has a problem. They, in my opinion, chose the wrong sport to get invested in. They decided that they wanted to bank on NBA, and look at that shit. It's fucking hemorrhaging viewers right now. It's awful how the NBA has turned out. I think with the right investment, Major League Baseball could absolutely make a comeback. But again, we can get into an unpacking marketing and all that and all the things that Major League Baseball could be doing better and is trying to do better. But, not maybe at the speed that they need to. That being said, it wasn't mutual at all. ESPN came looking for a discount. Major League Baseball said, go fuck yourself. We think we're worth more. And they were like, okay, yeah. So we don't have anything to talk about here. I texted you guys in the group chat, but yeah.
So to me, you know what this sounds like? This sounds like a little bit how Warner and how Turner and Warner and Turner's under Warner. Warner lost the NBA. Like where they went, the owner of the CEO of Warner went up there and said, oh, we don't need the NBA. We can just play Age of Ultron 80 times for you niggas on TNT. And Adam Silver was like, oh, bet you don't need the NBA. Watch this. So it kind of feels like this is the same situation here. And Manfred, for the first time, I can't really blame him. I give Manfred a lot of shit, but I can't particularly blame him in this situation. Man, we know you don't win. I want your opinion. It's not from a baseball perspective, but from a media perspective. What this tells you when that's still the mothership, ESPN, as bad as they have fallen off, that they don't have any baseball representation now.
Honestly, just from where I sit, it does show you what the sport is. Like, even though ratings have grown and stuff, you just don't let go of a league. You have somebody bid you out of it. So it shows me that with everything that ESPN has going on and working on this direct to consumer brand that's going on, that they don't have a vested interest in some that they feel like is not going to draw enough people to what they're trying to do. And Shane, here's all TV is for old people.
That's very true.
Like all network TV is for old people. It's not just ESPN. I had to sit up here the other day.
Have you ever tried to put somebody over 70, show them how to use streaming?
Yeah, like even worse, I had to think about yesterday. When was the last time, like after they made the announcement that Paradise was going to be renewed for season 2, but they're going to air season 1 on ABC? I was like, who the fuck cares? Like, I saw it already. When was the last time we looked at TV and was like, yo, we got to turn on at 7 o'clock to watch this? Yeah. Like, we don't even do that. So to me, network and cable television is for old people. So baseball has an opportunity to figure out how this works for them. I have stated on this show how much I hated the NBA TV because of the content. Baseball has years and years of nostalgia content that I don't think that they're using heavily as well. So they got to figure it out. They got to figure it out soon, because the other thing that the NFL, that the ESPN is looking at is, I don't know if you guys saw this, but the purchase of NFL Films and the NFL Network has came into play. So they're looking to not only invest more in the NFL, they're looking to be the entertainment hub for the NFL. And if you look at the NFL, you look at NFL Films, and you look at what ESPN is doing with stuff like 30 for 30, that's a match made in heaven. Baseball, they need to find that match made in heaven. Maybe it's Apple TV, maybe it's Amazon, but they need to find, it's probably going to be a streamer though, and they have to find a way to capitalize off of that, or there's just going to be a dope sport to go see in person, but nobody's going to care because they're not going to be able to see it.
Very true. Very true. We're going to bring in the homie Tosin in right now for this last topic before Courtney leaves, but I just had to get everybody on here for this one. Tosin, how you feeling, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm just busy as hell with life. How is everybody doing? Everyone's good?
Fantastic.
Pretty good. We all refreshed from a 2-week break. We were talking about pod trades earlier. We think about putting Dante on the trading block because he doesn't show up for work anymore.
Yes, Luka should have woken everyone in America up.
Exactly.
Nobody is above a trade.
Exactly. We might need you here full time when we send him off to CHGO or somebody for cash considerations. But we are all feeling good, man. I wanted to get everybody here to talk about this one topic, man. Stephen A. Smith. We all know Screaming A, Stephen A., one of the legends in sports media, no matter how you feel about him, or as he called me, young black brother, when I met him 2 years ago at a Lakers-Clippers game. A lot of rules about him running for president in 2028 in the Democratic Party. Now, don't laugh too hard, because remember who is in the seat on Pennsylvania Avenue right now. Former reality TV star and convicted felon Donald Trump. So don't laugh too hard about Stephen A. Smith running. And my boy Big Waz of The Ringer said on his podcast that you can't tell me that if he's in a debate or if he decides to do a show on MSNBC that he doesn't have the chops to actually make that work, and that we're in a country that isn't dumb enough to actually vote him. Now, the thing that's going to hold him back is his skin color, and only white men can do what Donald Trump is doing. But I will say this, don't laugh too hard, because he's currently polling higher than 3 potential Democratic candidates for this. Tosin, since you joined us, I'm gonna get what's your take on this whole possibility, and just the fact that he's even talking about. He was on Pod Save America last week, which is a big political podcast.
Bomani Jones put it best today. Bomani said you don't want to get into a debate with Stephen A. Smith. Like
At
you
all.
don't. You like that's the worst part. He enjoys this shit. Like he really enjoys it. I think that America is so unserious that like we would vote Stephen A. Smith in. That is some shit that like the way this country is going, I could see Stephen A. Smith being that, and like, you know, having his Latinas as his having his thing. You know, he's a weird guy, but I can see it happening. Like as much as we joke, I generally can see it happening. I don't put nothing past this country anymore.
I was muted. That was fine on me. That's fine on me. Nothing about this country, like you said.
Oh, no, you got to play music, nigga. What the fuck you talking about?
Go ahead, Nikhil, play the music. Oh, that's fine.
I'm trying to move past this.
Not on my watch.
All right, it actually happened to me for one time. All right, cool. But Stephen A., nothing would shock me, and I don't want to be president, obviously, but I would kill to see him in a debate. Could you imagine him or whoever the Republican candidate? Well, it might be Trump again. Let's not laugh too hard about that. But in there, he said, Orlando said, Putin has small hands.
I want to see him against JD Vance. That would be hilarious. JD Vance's
Vance will be
mother.
out of there.
JD Vance's mother, who was on crack. That's
Who
what
is
he
on
said.
crack? You compare you put me a man that makes love to couches? That's what we're gonna do right here today. That's blasphemous. That I just need to see him in a debate. That would be the funniest thing ever. Like if we're gonna get crazy, let's at least he ain't gotta win. He ain't gotta win he's not gonna be at the Democratic National Convention and he's their pick. But let me just see a Stephen A. presidential run for at least my entertainment. That would be hilarious.
I got a question for everybody. Who do you think will be his VP?
Who would be his? That's a good one.
Wow,
Who would be Stephen
Hannity.
A. vice president?
Hannity.
Hannity.
I mean, for jokes, it's got to be Molly. It's got to be Molly. He's got
Nah.
a female vote.
Shannon.
I got a better one for you.
Oh,
We're gonna bring back Skip. We going back to 08.
Smith Bayless 2028. You can see up there. He's getting.
I'd buy the T-shirt. I'd buy the T-shirt.
JD Vance cutting off Skip. It's my turn. It's my turn. That would if we gonna get crazy, bro. We gonna Shannon Sharp be a secretary of Secretary of State.
Defense.
Yeah, secretary. Imagine you sending off Shannon Sharp to go talk with representatives in London.
Trump said we needed a nigger navy. Okay.
Sometimes these niggas need a nigga. In the words of former Phoenix Suns.
Hey, real shit though, man. Like him polling that high, it doesn't surprise me. You know why? Motherfuckers don't give a fuck about polls no more.
No, they
Nigga,
don't. We can see that, yeah.
Nigga, if I was famous enough, I would poll in that motherfucker if I said I want to be president a couple of times. Like I remember motherfuckers, I had to convince motherfuckers not to write me in as the gubernatorial vote for governor of Illinois when I was joking around and made me a video talking about I was running for governor. Like the way we view politics, polling, and all of that shit is dead. Like I remember when I was younger and motherfuckers just knock on the house, and where I live at Plainfield, it was a couple of people that knocked on the door like, yo, do I have your vote? I'm like, who the fuck are you, fam? Why are you here? But motherfuckers get off, like, imagine this. Like, Sky, imagine this. You get off on 79th on the train. You get off on the red line. You get off on 79th, and some nigga sitting up there with a clipboard talking about, so who you voting for? Huh?
I said a lot of things happen before I ride the 79th train. I would put my
but I'm just saying, imagine
red calling an Uber before I get back on the 79th train.
But imagine you getting off on 79th and there's some nigga that's sitting up there next to you talking about who do you plan on voting for? Bitch, get out my fucking face. That's polling right now, G. Well, I'll just put you for Smith. Like, that's polling right now. I don't care about no polling voting data because niggas just be saying shit to get you the fuck off the phone.
By the way, Courtney and Toast, you don't know, 79th Street is the worst street in America. Like, 79th is so bad that you're not safe till you get to Burbank, Illinois. Like, that's how bad 79th is.
79th is worse than any Martin Luther King in the country.
It's Martin Luther King on steroids. You safer going to Martin Luther King and you're on 79th. You get off at 79th and Jeffrey. All them young niggas over there who wearing shiesties in 85-degree weather. God bless. Like,
someone said Bomani Jones the president. First of all, Bomani Jones, they won't allow that, man. Bomani's too smart to be president.
Yeah.
They'll call him all this. Listen,
stupid and values loud, stupid people.
Listen, I'll say this. I've met Bomani in person. That's a good dude. Bomani, I love Bomani, but I don't think they would allow that to happen. They were like, this nigga too smart, okay? We don't want this.
We saw how they felt about Obama.
Yeah, but at least Obama, and this is no slight to Bomani. I'm a big fan of Bomani. At least Obama got personality. Like Bomani just strikes me as somebody who don't get excited about nothing. Like
Bomani gets excited about arguing. That's
right. Like
Bomani, he wants to tell you you're wrong in the most scientific way possible. That's what he wants to do.
Like Stephen A. Right, I stay off 79th. I ain't just Chicago. We're street in America. Like not just Chicago. America, like but yeah, Stephen A. If we're gonna go to hell as a country, at least let me be entertained on their way to hell. And Stephen A. Smith will be entertained. I can see the posters right now. I can see him promoting. Bomani be arguing Twitter in the middle of a funeral. Oh man, I saw Bomani at Radio Row at Super Bowl. It was him and who was the other nigga? Van Jones. Yeah, not Van Jones. Not Van. Who's my man from the ring? Not Van Jones. Van Lathan. My bad, Van. I ain't pay you the crime, man. My fault. But Courtney, we gonna let you get up out of there because we're about to talk basketball because we're actually a basketball show, people. Contrary to popular belief, we spent 2 hours talking about everything but basketball. You can follow Courtney at 1-800-CALLER, bro. Courtney won't be on Friday, but you'll be here on Monday. See, Dante, people putting their PTO days in ahead of schedule. He gonna cuss me out tomorrow. But Courtney, anything you want to say before we get you up out of here?
Absolutely not. I'm just happy that baseball's back, baby. We got hockey on tonight. Only 2 games on the roster, so if you plan on watching, just look
Courtney,
out.
Can you send that phrase that you told me a couple days ago that I was not to see if I'm just not up to date?
Absolutely not. That is not YouTube. That is not YouTube. Instagram friendly. That is a chat exclusive.
That's a chat. Okay, a chat exclusive. I was like, I've never heard that before. But anyway, I went
to the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and I attended Arizona State University. The things that I have seen and experienced in my life.
See, I gotta be added to the group. I need to know what this is now. I gotta find out.
Yeah. Well, we gotta loop him in. So
yeah, we're gonna loop you in because I was like, I've never heard this before. But anyway, Courtney, we will holler at you next Monday.
Absolutely. Cheers, y'all.
All right. Please. We're going to talk basketball now because the basketball is around. We are in the stretch run in the NBA season. We got like 30 games left. Most teams got about 30 games left, man. So I want to talk about this face of the league conversation that has been going on in the NBA last year or two. We know that I believe LeBron James retiring after next year. I don't have any intel on this. Nobody's told me anything. It just gives off the feel that next year is going to be a swan song. And, whenever they build around him and Luka, maybe he has one more crack at getting his 5th championship, and then he rides off to the sunset. Steph Curry ain't got that much long, and neither does Kevin Durant. Even though my hot take is that KD is going to be playing a lot longer than Steph and LeBron if he can stay healthy. But there's been this conversation about who's going to be the guy who's going to fill the shoes of what we just watched from this golden era. I don't know if you guys have seen Court of Gold docuseries on Netflix about the 2024 Olympic team. Really kind of shed a light on the big three of LeBron, KD, and Steph, and the things they've done in their 20 years in the league. And there's this podcast out there called Road Tripping. It's with Channing Frye, Richard Jefferson, Kendrick Perkins, and Allie Clifton, I think is her name. She covers the Lakers. Real great basketball podcast, one of my favorite basketball podcasts. The topic of this came off, and Channing Frye had a take that I want to debate about. Nikhil, play that video for me.
Is killing the NBA. The 90s basketball, Michael Jordan and Kobe, was not as clean as y'all think it was. Y'all forget that Jordan left the league for 2 years. Y'all forget that Kobe, rest in peace, quit on his team in the playoffs and did not shoot the basketball. So all this Kobe, Jordan, oh, he's not this, he's not that. That is propaganda. Every great player, whether that's Ant, Wemby, Bron, Steph, this, that. They compare him to a motherfucker 40 years ago. The rules weren't even the same. You're not really watching help side defense. Who's doing this? What is this rule? What is that rule? You're not watching. Nobody celebrates these new people. So why the fuck would anybody want to be the face of this league where you're going to get shitted on every network for not being somebody from 40 fucking years ago? It's ridiculous. It is unfair. Bron is one of the greatest players ever to play. Stephen Curry is one of the greatest players ever to play. Giannis is one of the great. Jokic. And you know what we do? We talk about fucking Michael Jordan. All this superstar era shit is over. The card cap called a second apron, it's over. Teams are going to take over.
Now, you can watch the full clip on their podcast, Road Trip. And I actually sat down and watched the entire episode yesterday, which is actually a pretty good episode. And when you listen to him explain it, I think he goes a little more in depth than obviously a 90-second clip does. I don't have a problem with what Shannon was saying about the face of the league thing, even though I don't think that really these players really have a choice when it comes to who becomes face of the league. I have a problem with blaming nostalgia for it. And I think you can blame nostalgia with anything. We can look at music. Oh, music is the same as how it was back in the day. People really think that in the 90s, early 2000s, there was no bad rap or R&B that was out. That is a lie. People really think in movies that all movies pre-MCU were bad. Like MCU ruined movies. What happened to when thrillers were great? Like, let's be real. The tentpole movies were always the ones that killed the box office back in the day. So you can blame nostalgia for anything. I think it's a mix because the product on the court isn't that good. And as much crap as I give Adam Silver, I think he's doing as much as he possibly can. You can't make players care. You know what I'm saying? Last night I watched 4 basketball games, and I saw intensity that I haven't seen all season because I really feel like they only care about 20 to 30 games and then the actual playoffs. We shouldn't have to pay these dudes extra money for an in-season tournament. We shouldn't have to put money on the line for an all-star game and things like that. The reason people keep talking about Michael Jordan and the reason we keep talking about Kobe Bryant is because that was an era, in my opinion, that was more respected. Because if anything, the players cared nightly. Excuse me. They cared about it nightly. Like the people sitting out every game. And now that that's team mandated as well, I really think it's a nuanced conversation for where the NBA is at. And I'm not too over the top on ratings because the way we watch things are different with TV, social media, and streaming apps. But you can't lie and say that this isn't the least entertaining, at least from the casual fan. Shannon brought up you're not watching the games. Yeah, if you're a diehard basketball fan, and I had an argument / debate with my man B about this. Shout out to B. That he's like, I'm watching basketball every night. So yeah, the diehards care about it. I'm a football diehard. I will watch Titans Colts and not blink because I love football. The average football fan ain't gonna do that. So I feel like the NBA is losing the average fan, and blaming Michael Jordan and blaming Kobe Bryant is a cop-out. And I hated the Kobe comment because let's be real, he wouldn't say that if Kobe was still alive. Like Kobe himself cussed out Charles Barkley when Charles Barkley accused him of quitting. And by the way, Kobe probably did quit in that game. As a Kobe fan, you can put in the background. I can't lie. Kobe probably did do that to prove a point. But we're not going to act like LeBron didn't do that in 2010 against the Celtics when he was just ready to go home and leave the Cavaliers. It's been done before. So I do believe that there needs to be a way to where we appreciate the current players, but the players need to have a little bit of personality. I don't know if y'all watch Starting Five on Netflix. Outside of Anthony Edwards, none of them dudes had play. Like I like Jimmy. Jimmy's not entertaining after a while. Jason Tatum's the most bland superstar ever. And so I feel like a lot of that's going to be a problem as well. But when it comes to the face of the league, I think that's somebody that the fans going to have to choose. Like, I don't think there's anybody that you can prepare. Anthony Edwards said he doesn't want to be faced. I'm going to say that for Wemby was his quote. But you can't have your cake and eat it too. And it's on every other commercial on TV right now. That's face of the league type stuff. So I feel like there's a lot of problems with the NBA and everybody's blaming different things. But if the league was as great as it's supposed to be, we wouldn't be talking about Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant like that, in my personal opinion. Bane, what do you think about what Channing Frye said? This entire conversation, we're trying to find a face. And do you think nostalgia is to blame?
I believe that two things could be right at the same time. And just like in hip hop, I get tired of people always saying back in my day, back in my day, back in my day. I get tired of that. But it's also a cop-out when you are not acknowledging what is going on currently in the league. You saw intensity yesterday. I didn't. Like, I saw two games where I was like,
well, I'm more referring to the late night games with the Cavs and the Cavs and the Grizzlies, and then the Thunder and Wolves was really good. Yeah, the first two games were blowouts for sure.
Yeah, I was looking and I was just like, man, for real, like this is what we watching today. Like I am I'm just talking about me. I am not interested in the product mainly because it feel like shit's just not interesting. And I love basketball. But when I turn it and it's a blowout in the second quarter and the game is already over, then I'm not wasting my time to watch anything. So for me, that's a problem, right? The other problem is that I don't think that these superstars are interesting. I talked about it last week. I I think that the 2012 All-Star game is the infancy of all of this. Because when LeBron James got cussed out by Kobe Bryant, got looked at crazy by Carmelo Anthony, you see Dwayne Wade nose is broken. Hell, you see Derrick Rose not smiling while these niggas dancing. These niggas that's hooping now, let's just keep it a buck. Yeah, they want to compete and all that stuff, yeah. But they more interested in just being cool and hooping. And it's just a league full of hoopers at this point. It's a league full of Kevin Durant's. And this is no diss to Kevin Durant, because when you watch that Court of Gold documentary, I have all the respect for Kevin Durant. But Kevin Durant also does not strike me as somebody who's aiming to be the face of the NBA. He's trying to hoop. Everybody's just trying to hoop. And Charles Barkley said something that was extremely real. And I think that Shannon Fry should have spent a little bit more time on this. In order for people to be in order for somebody to be the face of the NBA, they got to want it, they got to take it. I don't think nobody wants it. Now, on the flip side, I've also said that this NBA is going more towards teams in the first place. And when you think about it, that was to the detriment of the league. Like, if you really want to be real, the last time you thought of the NBA as a place about teams was 1979. The year Magic Johnson got drafted. When he won that title, that ended the whole teams thing. No, it was Magic, Kareem, and the Lakers. It was Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, and the Milwaukee Bucks. And you could go on and on with damn near any team, and you could say this person and that team. All of these teams in the 80s and 90s was David Ruffin and the Temptations. If we go back to that, that kills everything that the NBA has built. And it's not going to be about the name on the back. It's going to be about the name on the front. And at the end of the day, where everybody basically not wanting to grow with the team that they grew with, like, look, let's be real. It was something to, and I'm about to name some random ass names, but if you somebody my age and love the NBA, not no random ass, like, these are still stars. But if you followed the NBA like I followed the NBA, you will understand. That was something to Don Wilkins being the face of the Atlanta Hawks. That's why he's back working with the Atlanta Hawks. It was something with Gary Payton and Sean Kemp being a member of the Seattle Supersonics. That's why they the main players. It's like, yo, we got to bring a team back. There was something about Joe Dumars being the Detroit Piston. Like, players identified with the teams, but you still was like, yo, this player and the team. Now, in this day and age, Shannon Fry is sitting up there arguing, yelling, and talking about, yo, it ain't Anthony Edwards, it's the Minnesota Timberwolves. Niggas don't give a fuck about the Minnesota Timberwolves, fam. They care about Anthony Edwards. Niggas don't give a fuck about the Phoenix Suns. They care about Kevin Durant. Niggas don't care about the LA Lakers like that. They care about LeBron James and Luka Doncic. Nigga, only if you really want to be real, only real Lakers fans are still Lakers fans. These niggas ain't really fans of LeBron. They are Lakers fans. But there's a whole bunch of LeBron fans as soon as he left the Cleveland Cavaliers that was like, yo, we fuck with the Lakers. That's where we gonna be at. So you better get ready for Wemby, Ace, Ron Harper Kid, Flag, all of those people. Once you start making it team thing, nobody's gonna give a shit, because basketball is a one-on-one sport. It's a kill to be killed sport. Even though it's a team, we need somebody to be the star. If you ain't got that, nobody's gonna give a damn.
Tosin, what's your take on all this?
I mean, I agree with both of y'all. First of all, Sean Kemp's weed dispensary is fire. That's just an aside.
I heard.
He said Sean Kemp. I was there. I can confirm that. But that's neither here nor there. It's all in Sonics colors. But I think, and again, I'm a big soccer person. I'm a big, like, you know me, I love all the sports. And I think the biggest thing for me, I'm about to sound super old. I think social media has killed a lot of shit. I think that we know too much about these superstars. We know way too much about these players. We know about who they're dating, what car they're driving. Back in the day, like, we didn't know shit about Jordan. Like, there were rumors, right? Like, if you live in Chicago, like, you would hear rumors, right? But you didn't know anything. Like, I think now we see the athletes way too much. Like, you now see these guys on, on Instagram. You can follow them anywhere. They're too close. And I think that nobody has a personality like that. Like, Ant has a personality, but, it's like, it's cool. It's whatever. But
Ant is a nigga more than he has a personality.
100%. Like, when I was watching the court thing,
did you see how he was talking to Obama? Oh my God, Secret Service finna end him.
Listen, Ant is just a YN who's good at sports. That's all he is. He's the most Atlantic. He's the most Atlantic kid in the world. Like, he don't change for nobody. He said, "I told that man I'm the truth," and that's what he said. So yeah, I think the NBA is just in a weird place, but it's not just the NBA. I think the NFL does a good job of like propping up their superstars in a way, but I don't know, man. The NBA is in a weird place. I was watching the All-Star game and I saw Mr. Beast come out. I was like, yo, y'all got to hit the strategy decks, bro.
Yeah.
Like, y'all got to hit the strategy deck because this ain't it. I see maybe the younger kids like it, but maybe this is just me speaking for somebody who grew up watching Trey. Like, when I first came to America and I saw Tracy McGrady, the first thing I wanted to get were those T-Max. Like, you remember the 03 T-Max, the blue joints, but they're like the spider net?
The Orlando Magic covers.
Yeah. So it's just like, I don't know what it is now, like with these newer superstars where it's just like, there's just not enough personality. There's just not enough. Like, Jason's a great player, but he's boring as hell. All Jason wants to do is take care of Deuce, and that's it. And that's fine. But it's just like the superstars of these leagues aren't superstar no more. It's like when the Steph leaves and like all these other people leave, what's gonna be there? And I feel bad because the talent is there. Like the Amen and his brother, talented as hell. Cade, talented as hell. All these kids are extremely talented, but it's just like, man, I don't really care too much to like check in. And it's unfortunate because, like I said, these kids are really talented, but it's not really translating into like, and don't get me wrong. I also think the media does a terrible job of propping up the NBA. I think that they kill their own product with the way they talk about their league. Like, you'd be damned if you talk crazy about the NFL. Roger Goodell will come find you. He will come find you personally and tell you better not talk about my league like that. Yeah, right. Roger Goodell,
man, shut your fucking ass up. What's wrong with you?
Roger Goodell does not play. He's the greatest American leader you've had since FDR, and I say that. He is.
I agree.
hey, Tosa, to your point though, it's all fun and games until you find out your favorite player lame. Like when you
said what?
When you watch it, it's all fun and games until you find out your favorite player lame. Like you be sitting there watching sports and shit, and you be like, "Oh man, this is amazing!" And then you look on social media, and your favorite player out here dancing, doing TikToks and shit for the YNs, like even for the older YNs, they like, "Man, get the fuck up out of here, this lame ass dude."
To your point,
but
right?
He can hoop though.
Like to Zion, right? Like we all thought Zion was cool. Then we saw Mariah Mills. Now he a waste man. Like, yo, why are you texting this woman? Like, that's gross. Like, it's like we see too much. We see way too much.
I agree with what you're saying too, because it's also like with entertainment. We have this conversation about movie. Who's the last movie star? You know what I'm saying? Like, that you go to the movies because of them. When Leo drops a movie, you go because of him. When Denzel drops a movie, Michael B. Jordan, maybe. But a lot of these niggas, we just going because what
he up there. We look for Michael B. Jordan. We gonna see when Sinners come out.
Right. Yes, good point.
I mean, they're trying to put up Timothy Chalamet, right, as the next it dude. But I'm just like,
with that awkward Kendrick interview they posted.
It's just like, I'm like, come on, man. It's like in everything now, right? And I hate to sound like the old man, but it's like, I had this conversation right the other day, and this is gonna sound super left field. Like I know what I'm about to say is super left field, but it has to tie in what I'm saying, right? So I was watching what's that? What's this Cosby Show spinoff with like Denise in the first episode?
Different World.
Yeah, I was watching Different World, right? And then I ended up watching The Wood and then watching The Brothers. And I was thinking like, yo, in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, like mid 2010s, we had a lot of like black representation on TV where like you saw black people on TV like, oh, I aspire to be like this, right? Now, when you look at black people on TV, what did we have? We got Zeus Network and Joe Budden podcast. And it's just like, the quality of everything is just falling off in everything. Like people generally tune into Joe Budden like they're going to see Denzel in the 90s. Like, yo, what did we do where did we go wrong as a society? Like, how did we go from having the brothers with like, Shamar Moore? That movie's corny as hell, but still, it's like we went from having black people in theaters to like now we got people watching Joe Budden and Zeus TV. I'm just like, yo, this is wild. The same thing with like sports. It's like these athletes now, we know too much about them. Like we know way too much about their personal lives. We know who they're dating, who they're not dating. It's weird. But I sound like an old man, but that's just I don't know.
I'm with you. Like, I'm the king of get off my lawn. And like everybody watching Zeus Network, you niggas need to go watching that new Morris Chestnut show, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, watch real acting. You know what I'm saying? What's the Watson on CBS?
Nobody cares about shit like that. They don't care about Watson, fam. They care about BMF. Like,
which is probably already canceled. We don't know because Meech out here kicking him with Ross, and 50.
They don't like people don't care about character development. They want somebody to get shot now.
And look,
find out the day it happened.
Hey, Bang, you hit the nail on the head. The way we consume everything now, people just want to critique. And Tosin, I think you tweeted this like a week or two ago. People just want to critique. I think the Captain America movie is fine. Is it anything great? No, it's not a top 10 Marvel movie. It's not incredible. It's a fun movie. I had fun for the 2 hours in the theater. Everything don't have to be Infinity War level. Like we look at music, everything's got to be a classic. Why can't just some stuff be a good album? And I think that the way we consume stuff, like you said, it's like that, where people just want to watch stuff to critique it. And I think that goes back to even with the NBA. A lot of people hate watching the NBA. Well, they're like, oh, this is trash. This is another book. Why are you watching it? Go watch something else.
People watch shit just to complain. That's the biggest thing. It's like everybody wants to just complain about something. Like, and I generally love where the NBA is headed with the talent wise, right? I think
it's the most talent ever. Yeah.
These are so like Amen Thompson. Like I'm watching, I'm like, this little dude is claps. He is nice as hell. Cade is great. It's like there's so much talent in the league, but it's like the way the Stephen A. Smiths of the world talk about the NBA is like, dang, like y'all are mean to these little kids, man. Like y'all need to relax a little bit. But listen, man, I sound like an old man.
Part of that reason, though. Part of that reason actually is because they don't even know. Like, they don't even know the product. Like, people are so we just talking about ESPN and shit, and this is not just ESPN. This is all sports. People are so spread it thin that you ain't got time to watch the sport. Like, I'd watched in the NBA for the first time this year, this weekend. Like, first time. And I'm sitting here watching the product like, damn, I know a lot of these players, but I ain't really got an idea what's going on. I almost got to kick my ass talking about some, hey, man, it's the NBA season, so your ass ain't watching ESPN. Why the hell you here? And then he tried to trade me, to some, like, he tried to trade me to Fake Short Drive or some shit. Like, I don't want that to be me. But the point that I'm making is that if I'm Stephen A. Smith and I got my hands and everything, this is not a cape for Stephen A. Smith, though. This is just understand what I'm saying. That if Stephen A. Smith is doing basketball, football, okay, there's boxing. So now they want me to go talk about some boxing shit. They want me to talk about some UFC shit. He's doing all of these things. When in the hell do I got time to sit down and actually really watch the game and see what's going on? He don't. And the specialists that they have for basketball are some players and a whole bunch of nerds. Like,
you notice every basketball podcast with niggas got to have a random white boy on it. Have you noticed?
Right. It's not just that. It's every sport, right? Like, y'all know I've been watching soccer since I was 2 years old. Like, literally since I was 2 years old. And like, that sport's in a weird place now too, where I'm just like, yo, where are we going? Like, what are we doing right now? And the only league that I can say, like, generally that I can see still has a standard quality is the NFL, despite them robbing Lamar. But like, still, the NFL has some sort of semblance of like respect for themselves. It's like,
I think the NFL is a good example too. He said Scott tried to trade Bang to WCIU. Well, I think the NFL
about to do a game with Kenny McReynolds and shit, fam.
We only talked about Tom Brady this year when either he was having a bad game commentating or when Pat has a chance to do something that Brady hasn't done. Besides that, we're talking about the current quarterbacks in the league because they know how to market the product. And I do think that, yeah, we can blame the NBA media a little bit, but at the same time, I feel like if the play was a little bit better, we wouldn't have too much. Maybe I'm being naive. Maybe not as much negative coverage. Like I think a lot of people get mad at Inside the NBA, and my personal opinion is if you watch Inside for anything other than uncles yelling at each other, you're doing it wrong. Sometimes I watch Inside the NBA and I turn the game off, and then I come back from when the game is off to watch when Kenny, Shaq, and them will talk about it. And that's why next year is going to be interesting because even though Inside will be around, they're not every week now. They're going to be. You're not going to see them till. After you're gonna see them Christmas the first time, and then they're gonna be every ABC game, but then they're gonna do the playoffs. But we're gonna have them in the NBA Finals next year. Now, I do think there's some good people like Malika Andrews and everybody on NBA Today. They kill it, in my opinion. Like it's way better than when Rachel Nichols was up there having NBA on TMZ, which is basically what she was doing. They have a good content, but I feel like you said, it's not enough. And the great people they have, you got to go search for like the Brian Windhorst podcast with, all the guys who really know hoops. And then you got all this other athlete-driven content when we really see that them niggas really don't know as much as they say they do. Like, that's why I don't really like the I played argument. Go ahead, Toast.
I want to add to your point, because the same thing I see with soccer as well, right? Like what happens now in my favorite sports, like you have a lot of former professionals who are now the face of these talk shows. It's always been like that, right? Like it's always been that way. But I think especially now, what frustrates me is that like there's a lot more people who know these games better than these professional guys, right? And it just is what it is. But the way it's set up in media, it's very interesting where you have an attractive lady who's on front of TV and then you have former pros. That's what it seems like it is in every sport now. It's like you have one really attractive person and then everybody else is a former pro. And if you're like trying to be a journalist, that is a dead end. Like you can't be a journalist on TV. We don't have the Stuart Scotts of the world no more. We don't have it just doesn't exist anymore. And it's such a weird place for every.
I disagree with you a bit, Tosin, about we don't have the Stuart Scotts because we do. Like it's Stephen A. Smith. Like Stuart Scott was the host.
Okay.
He's not the play-by-play guy. He's not the color commentary guy. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Stuart Scott. This is not going to be blasphemous. What I'm saying is that when you look at the NBA at its peak, it wasn't Stuart Scott. It was Bob Costas.
Yeah.
We need more stories. We don't
Bob
need.
Costas was the ultimate storyteller.
Yeah, we don't see basketball and way we got it was good because you had storytellers. It's Stuart Scott wasn't a storyteller. He got you hyped. Yeah. But I'm sorry. I think the NBA started to take a turn when ESPN ABC took that shit.
I don't disagree.
Sorry. Like when the pomp and circumstance of the NBA went away when we didn't hear Round Ball Rock. The NBA on NBC did a great job at telling the story about the game, the players, and made you hype even before the goddamn ball was dropped. No other sport at the time had that. Football saw that shit and they put that in their sport, and now you got it. And the crazy thing is they was looking like, oh, we've been had this with NFL's films. I watched on YouTube yesterday a NFL game of the week, the Chicago Bears versus the Philadelphia Eagles in the 1979 playoffs. I watched that shit like it was must-see TV because it told a story. What story is the NBA telling now? We just watched the NFL, the Super Bowl, where the story was, can the Chiefs three-peat, or is Jalen Hurts overrated and all of that shit? We had a story. We did have a story with LeBron James and Golden State Warriors when they was down 3-1. What was the story in the finals last year? It wasn't no goddamn story. Goddamn Boston Celtics won.
And that's why I think the NBA needs dynasties more than we need somebody who we can all collectively hate. You know what I'm saying? Like the Warriors were the last team that everybody collectively hated, and it was the Heatles. We ain't got that no more. You know.
Yeah, the
but,
NBA is the one sport that need dynasties because that's what they built off of.
Yep.
In the 70s, when the ratings was shitty and it was on tape delay, everybody was winning a goddamn title every year. Boston won one, Milwaukee won one. You know, Boston ain't did. I learned a stat yesterday. Today. I ain't realized the Boston Celtics ain't repeated since 1969.
Yeah,
and
true.
Here's the thing. People love to hate the Cowboys. Who is the team you love to hate in the NBA?
I don't have one.
That's why. Like, there's no team that you love. You love to hate the Yankees. Now you love to hate the Dodgers. Tosin, who you hate in soccer? Like, who you love to hate?
Everybody except for my team, which I hate them. But like, I understand what you're saying. Like right now, Man City have won like 4 titles in a row, so everybody hates them.
That's the team. Yep.
PSG, they've won like 4 or 5 in a row. They've won like nearly 10, something crazy in France, right? Like they like that. But it's like back even Real Madrid, like they won so many champions, like everybody hates them. But to your point about the last NBA team everybody really hated genuinely was the Warriors because they were the last dynasty that we've actually had in the NBA.
And now they huff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And niggas don't hate the Lakers. They hate LeBron. They don't hate the Celtics. They hate LeBron. They don't hate the Celtics. They don't hate Larry Bird. If anything, I've said on this show, Larry Bird is now turned into the most underrated player of all time. They don't hate the Celtics now. We don't even hate Jason Tatum. We forget he there.
That's true.
Now we want to like the Lakers because Luka there. It's like, oh shit, Luka there. It's lit. We don't hate the Lakers. We hate the player that's on the team currently right now, LeBron James. Everybody didn't hate the Bulls. They was going to every goddamn game. It was must-see TV. What was they? A dynasty. Lakers with Shaq, dynasty. Detroit Pistons, we love to hate them, dynasty. Boston Celtics, Lakers, dynasty. Golden State, now you hate them, but now it's more of you laughing and shit. They ain't as good as they used to, but you don't hate them. You just like they ain't as good as they used to. Who's the most hated, really? Who's the most hated team in the goddamn NBA right now? I bet you if you took a poll and I think the leading candidate would be the Philadelphia 76ers because they supposed to be a cold-ass team, but they stay huff. But they not a winner.
I agree with you. Gary put in the chat, I love parody. Parody's overrated. Like, I'm gonna be real. Like for the NBA, I believe parody is overrated because everybody says I don't want to see these top teams, but that's the teams that people love to hate on. You know what I'm saying? Like people want to. Nobody cared that the Dallas Mavericks. People are gonna care way more if the Lakers make the finals with Luka than they care with Luka making the finals with the Dallas Mavericks because it's the Los Angeles Lakers and there's LeBron James, and that's the stuff that I feel like the NBA needs. You know, but we could talk about this one all day long. We talked about this for almost 30 minutes, but I want to get into the other stuff going on in the league. Let's talk about the New York Knicks, a team that came into this year with a lot of expectations, trading for Karl-Anthony Towns. We see how different the Minnesota Timberwolves look without Cat. This team right now, they are the number 3 team in the Eastern Conference of 37-20, but they've lost 2 in a row. They are 6-4 in their last 10, but they are 0-7 against the top 3 teams in basketball, which are the Cleveland Cavaliers, that is the Boston Celtics, and that is the Oklahoma City Thunder. Not only are they losing these games, they are losing them by an average of 20 points per game. I'm putting like I saw last night's game. I saw the last 2 games. They got thumped by the Celtics last night, had a little fake little comeback in that little third quarter, you know, made it like a 5-point game, but then the Celtics realized they're playing with their food and got it back up to 20 points. They got absolutely destroyed by the Cleveland Cavaliers on Friday. And to me, this is the issue that I've always said with the Knicks, that Knicks fans cuss me out about, but as a Bulls fan, I know Tibbs plays his players too long, bro. Like there was some parts in there where Cat was looking exhausted. This happens every night. OG Anunoby gets injured like every other game. Cat twisted his ankle in this game. They're down 18. You know, in the third quarter, he went to the back into the locker room and he came back. You know what I'm saying? Like this is just something that we see from him all the time, and you're still running it. what he got to understand, the Eastern Conference, as long as you're a top 4 seed and you have home court advantage in the first round, you give yourself a chance. So I feel like that's a problem with that as well. Also, they gave up a lot of depth when they had to get Cat, which I don't have a problem with. Obviously, if you have a player of his caliber, you want to do what you got to do to get him. And Cat has been absolutely phenomenal for them this year. But if you look at the other teams, it's like what you were saying, Bang, it's a team era now. These other teams, yes, they have stars. The Celtics have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. The Cleveland Cavaliers have Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland. The Oklahoma City Thunder have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Chet Holmgren, but these are deep rosters. This Knicks roster isn't deep enough to compete with them, no matter how good Jalen Brunson is, no matter how good Cat is. We know how these two play in the playoffs. Cat has struggles in the playoffs. You know, the reason that they got to the Western Conference Finals last year was not because of Karl-Anthony Towns. It was because of Anthony Edwards having an amazing postseason. Jalen Brunson, we forget, he got locked down in that first round series, really for the first 2 series in general. They did not have an answer for what the Philadelphia 76ers and for what the Indiana Pacers were doing. That's going to be a problem. And if you're a Knicks fan, if you're over here saying, wait till we get Mitchell Robinson back, I think he can help. But if you think that's going to be the deciding factor against Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, Kristaps Porzingis, Chet Holmgren, you smoking dope. And honestly, I'm going to throw the Bucks in there because the Bucks in that tier where, yeah, they might not be the best team, but in a 7-game series, if you have a healthy Giannis Antetokounmpo and a healthy Damian Lillard, adding a guy like Kyle Kuzma, we can make jokes because he's in DC. He's a good bench player. I'm not 100% sure that the Knicks can beat them. So to me, you got to find out a way for Tibbs to manage the minutes so his guys aren't dead come postseason times and get more depth. But this is just not their year. But I do think they're going down the right path. Toast, you live in New York with a whole bunch of those psychos out there who I know are talking crazy this year. What is the pulse out there if you know them? What do you think about this current Knicks team?
First of all, I don't leave my house. I don't go outside. Okay, I'm a child of God. I don't go outside. But all jokes aside, man, I think that the Knicks fans, they do this thing every year, especially since they've gotten a little bit better. They lie to themselves. You know, it's they every year is copium. They always lie. It's their year every year, but then reality sets in. That's the only thing I can say about the Knicks, that reality always sets in. They got a great team. I mean, a great, like, you know, they got a great point guard. They got good pieces, but it's like they don't have that depth. And every single year, Knicks fans lie to themselves. And chicken's coming home to roost now. You know, Tibbs is just running these guys like he's in a police academy. It's insane. So it's tough.
Bane, what you think? Of course, we know from being in Chicago and Tibbs literally almost killing Luau Deng. What do you think about this current squad?
A whole bunch of try hard ass niggas. That's what they are. A whole bunch of try hard dudes and do teams like that make the finals? Yeah, in years like this, yeah. Just see the Miami Heat. But they don't go nowhere after that. And Tibbs has a shelf life. And that shelf life looks like that is coming home to roost too. And we see in a situation where players get hurt. And I'm looking at Cat. Like when you look at the centerpiece of that team, I'm looking at Cat, and I'm wondering when Cat is going to be like, hey, yo, that's enough, fam. We need to go ahead and figure this out. We went through this in Minnesota, fam. We can't do this here. I'm hurt. Hold me down. Do something. That's what I'm waiting on right now. And I think we're going to get there pretty soon because of the expectations that people have once you got Cat on the team.
All right, let's move on to a team who made a big deal at the deadline. That is the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors traded for Mr. Jimbo G Buckets. And they have been winning some games, man. They are currently the 9th seed in the Western Conference. So they would host a playing game right now. But they're 6-4 in their last 10, and they've won 3 in a row. Says Jimmy Butler has been back. Blowout win last night against the Dallas Mavericks. Jimmy's been great. Steph Curry is starting to look like himself with another star. Draymond has been better when he has players to actually pass the ball to, and it's been a good influence on the younger players over there in Golden State right now. They are 30-27, but they are only a game and a half out of that 6th seed, which the Clippers currently have. And that means they could avoid the play-in and be hosting the Denver Nuggets. I'm not hosting, but in a series against the Denver Nuggets as it started right now, they'd have to pass up Dallas and Minnesota, which is not a hard thing to do. Dallas is really struggling without Anthony Davis and all they're missing PJ Washington as well. They're also missing Daniel Gafford. So they're dealing with a lot of problems in their front court, and we know Anna's out there scrapping by himself with Julius Randle being hurt, Rudy Gobert being hurt. So it's been, and Dante DiVincenzo has been hurt as well. So I like what I see from Jimmy Butler. The funny thing about Jimmy is we see this whole routine that Jimmy's been doing since the minute he left the Bulls. That is the man to go somewhere else. He plays there for a really, really good time. You're like, oh, Jimmy's the missing piece. And then he acts up, wants to go somewhere else. He's done this with literally every team. He did it with Minnesota. Helped get the Timberwolves to the playoffs for the first time in like 10 years at that point. Went to Philadelphia and took them. That was the height of Philadelphia basketball post Allen Iverson. That if Kawhi Leonard doesn't make that miraculous shot, I believe they go to the NBA Finals. That's how good that Sixer team was. And the Sixers decided to keep Tobias Harris over. So that's the only city that I would give Jimmy some bail. It wasn't his fault for why he didn't stay a Sixer. And then, of course, we know to go Miami, goes to 2 NBA Finals appearances. And voila, we have the same situation here. Signed a 2-year deal for $120 million. So he's going to be around for a couple more years outside of this situation. So I believe from that perspective, you have to do it because you want to try to maximize these last couple years of Steph Curry. I do think they're worried long-term about what this is going to do, but from a basketball perspective, they've got a very easy schedule coming up. I think they're going to finish with that 6th seed. We don't know Anthony Davis is coming back. I think that the Timberwolves are going to be a 500 team until they can get their guys back. And I don't know what the timetable is on Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle and White Dante. I think they got a real good opportunity here. Like, not to say they're going to make noise in the playoffs, but if I'm a young team or if I'm any team not named the Oklahoma City Thunder, that's not a team I really want to play in the first round. Tosin, what do you think about Jimmy Butler being added to the Warriors? Do you think that they can move up in these ranks and try to avoid the play-in tournament?
Bang said something just now about the Knicks, and that's what Jimmy Butler is. He is first team all try hard. That is literally what he is. He's the biggest try hard ever. He seems like he's fitting in, right? And I'm really cautious and excited to see what it looks like when Kuminga comes back. Jimmy's a great floor raiser. And I think that's what the Warriors needed. Like, Jimmy just needs to buy in. Like, they have a good, winning mentality with Draymond and Steph, but it's going to come down to the head when, like, playoff starts and things like that, because they do have the talent to make it, to go far, but it's really just, is Jimmy going to be Jimmy? Is he going to be a diva and decide to be, you know what? I don't want to do this no more. So it's a great floor raiser. He says the right things. He's playing the right way. The thing that I like Jimmy doing on the Warriors that they didn't have before him is that he gets fouls. Like, when Jimmy drives to the hoop, like he's drawing fouls all day. That's his favorite thing to do. And you're starting to see the players buy into Jimmy. You're starting to see everybody starting to play better. Podemski's playing a little bit better, but I want to see them play a little bit more tougher competition first. I want to see how they look against, like, more stressful teams, but it's looking good so far. I mean, like I said, Jimmy is him and Draymond. I'm really curious to see how, like, do they really get along, like, outside the court? Because the two psychopaths, the pair of them.
Yeah, they don't have a tough game. They got the Knicks coming up. That's like the toughest game they got coming up. They got a lot of bum. I don't call them bums, but a lot of teams they should beat coming up. I'm trying to look now and see if they got any tough Western Conference game. Doesn't look like I think they've got the easiest schedule going forward for them, man. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, we probably do need to see them get tougher team. They started off like 11-2 or something like that and came back crashing down to earth. Bang, what you feel about Jimmy's addition to the Warriors?
I'll see when the playoffs come. Like, I'll see when playoff Jimmy comes and see what happens. Because when you do have Steph and you do have Draymond on the team, you already going to get, what you could get for them. But what does playoff Jimmy look like on this team right here? We'll find that out when the playoffs happens. If you would tell me what I expect to happen, I expect for this team to make one final run at the NBA Finals. Not win it, but make one final run. Because as much as Jimmy Butler gets on my nerves. I trust him in the playoffs to try as hard as he can to beat these other teams. But I think when you look at the Denver Nuggets, they won't beat them. But the try hard Golden State Warriors versus the Oklahoma City Thunder, they might beat them in 4.
In 4, wow. I'll say this.
Oh yeah, playoff experience and trying hard.
Yeah, Jimmy makes it to the point where it makes Steph Curry again. And I always said that Steph Curry, when he won the championship in 2022, he became even more lethal because that narrative, he can't do anything in the fourth quarter in the finals, that's done. He is a stone cold killer. So if he gives you an opportunity, you don't want to be that nigga on the other side.
Steph did night in the third quarter.
And didn't play for the rest of the game.
Yeah, asshole. Like when I watch Steph now, like I actually take a step back and watch him. Steph's actually like an asshole, and I actually love it. We need more like that in sports. But Steph is really just a mean guy, and like I think a lot of people look at him. Oh, he's this little light skinned dude. Like no, Steph is really he is Gary Payton. That's what he in his mind. He's Gary Payton. That's what he is.
Steph Curry and Kendrick Lamar have a lot in common, in my opinion, like this, because they both people act like Steph Curry was not a lottery pick. People act like LeBron and KD and all these niggas didn't come to Davidson to watch him hoop. People act like you can sit in a gym forever. You're not going to shoot like this nigga. There's like some people act like Kendrick Lamar just became popular over the last year. He did a Disney soundtrack for Black Panther. This is not some dude who just came up. So I feel like a lot of people don't know, Steph's really an asshole. A lot of people just found out this last year. Hey, Kendrick's actually from Compton. He's actually a nigga. Like
Kendrick's been rapping since George Bush was president in 2004.
Right. Exactly. Like when his first tape came out, Obama was in his second year. So like, and when people talk about both, it's like they talk about like they just popped up out of nowhere. And that's why I feel like we're finally seeing from Steph Curry. Like, no, this nigga's not that good guy. I mean, he's a good guy, but he's an asshole. He remembers stuff like that. So, final topic of the show, man. We got to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers finally beat the Denver Nuggets on Sunday. 20-point. We said Steph's neighbor, Bill Gary Payton. The Lakers finally beat the Denver Nuggets by 20 points in the Saturday, primetime matchup. It's their first time beating the Denver Nuggets regular season or playoffs in 10 tries. They were able to blow them out. Since getting Luka Doncic, they have only lost 1 game. They are 8-2 in their last 10. They are currently the 4th seed in the Western Conference, but they are only 2 games behind the Memphis Grizzlies for the 2nd seed in the Western Conference. And Luka finally had a Luka game on Sunday. I will say this about the Lakers. I think on Friday I'm going to give y'all my NBA contender tiers, but I think that the Lakers are in the tier of things have to go right for them to make the NBA Finals and to win it. But one thing I'm not doing is betting against Luka Doncic and LeBron James. That's just one thing I'm just not doing. And I feel like JJ Redick is a good enough coach that they won't make the mental blunders that Darvin Ham made last year, or that who's my man what was the coach for them? Frank Vogel. He's not going to make the same mistakes that those two made. Now the depth is going to be issued. Their front court is going to be decimated because of all the things that they're waiting for. Don't have a center. But when you have those two good and the defense that they've been playing, I think they stack up against a lot of teams. Now, I don't want to put too much dip on the chip after beating Denver in a 7-game series. Nikola Jokic is not going to shoot only 7 times a game. I can guarantee you that. I do love Russell Westbrook's fit with the Nuggets. And Jamal Murray is not a regular season playoff guy, but when the playoffs start, he's a different dude. So I wouldn't pick them against them or OKC. But if I'm any other team in the Western Conference, That's not a team I want to see, because it kind of feels like they're playing with house money this year, because they know in the regular season they can fill out the roster a little bit more and put it towards Luka's strengths. Because let's be real, then this team is not going to be building around LeBron James anymore. They're building around Luka Doncic, and I feel like LeBron's about to get in his Kareem when he was with Magic era. Well, yes, he's the elder statesman. He's the former best player on the planet, but now he can go over here and lay back and do what he wanted to do when they got Anthony Davis, but Anthony Davis didn't want to do what Luka does. So I think they got a chance because they've got 2 of the best 10 players on the planet, but it's going to be a little tough with the depth. But they've got a very easy schedule coming up as well, and I do think they got a real good chance to be 2nd or 3rd seed. Toaster, tell me what you've seen from the Lakers since getting Luka Doncic, even as mind-blowing as it still is, they even got him. What do you think their ceiling is, at least for this season?
Like you said, never bet against Luka and LeBron. Just don't. They got teething issues, like just baby things, right? Like where Luka's still learning what he needs to be, and Steph and LeBron's learning what he needs to be, and they'll figure it out. They're 2 really, really smart players, and it's always fun to see people complain in the timeline. I saw somebody complain about like Max Christie being traded. I'm like, as good as Max Christie is, it's Luka fucking Doncic, okay?
Bro. Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? This is the top 5 player in the league. Like, it is what it is. So they got teething issues, but it's like really just trying to figure out where everybody fits on that team. And that's once they figure that out, which is, they got like 30-something games left, they'll be all right. They're really, really smart players. So again, LeBron it don't make no sense though, man. Like I'm looking at LeBron, like, yo, you're 40 years old. Like you've been hooping, like you've been hooping since 2001. Like we've all remember when LeBron like first came on the scene. It's like, yo, you're still that good. So it's just really down to those 2. They're gonna go as far as those 2 take them.
Me and LeBron, even though he doesn't know I exist, even though we've been in the same room multiple times together, he doesn't know I exist. We're like Batman and the Joker in my head. I don't know what I'm gonna do when I don't have LeBron to hate against. Like I really can't even hate on him now because Luka my boy. So like by default, I gotta wish him well. But what we're seeing at his age is something that can only be rivaled by Tom Brady, when Tom Brady won an MVP in the Super Bowl at 41. It's incredible. Like, I'm saying he only going to play 1 more year because of, probably how much he wants to play. But physically, he can play a couple more. It's just ridiculous. And I think now with Luka, he can preserve his energy. For the first time in the Lakers era, he can sit on a bench and not worry about that double-digit lead falling. And that's a big thing right there. Bane, bring us home. What you think about the Lakers and what the ceiling is this year?
The ceiling is the roof. Like they don't have no interior. When it gets to the postseason, when you have to get when you have to play Denver, which we already know what happens when they play Denver, or even if you play Oklahoma City, which is going to have a wave of big men Pauls going after you. They ain't got no interior. They got Luka and they got LeBron. But once you get into the playoffs, that game planning and all of that stuff, I don't think that's going to be enough. So the ceiling is the roof. Shouts out to Michael Jordan.
Shout out to Big Jeff. Happy, what's he, 63 now? How old is that?
Yeah, he turned 63 on the 17th.
63. Shout out to Big Jeff. I saw a great tweet. And I'm gonna wrap it up here. Somebody said, "Why do Chicagoans call Jordan's Mike's?" And somebody said, "Because we're the only ones who know him on a personal level." that is a great answer, nigga. That's why we call him Mike's. When niggas go, I'm wearing these J. Like, what the hell is J? What's J? We call them Mike's, nigga. That's what they are. So shout out to Michael Jordan, man. Happy birthday to Mike, man. But that is all we've got for y'all on this edition of I'm Not Gonna Hold You. We'll be back on Friday. Pav is going to come in. He's filling in for Courtney and Dante. Like I said, Dante's still in the trading block. If your other podcasts out there, we're listening to all offers. But we'll be back on Friday. I'm going to get into my NBA contender tiers or where I think different teams lay in. We're going to talk about football. We're going to talk some combine. I think that Ben Johnson and Ryan Paul speak tomorrow. Let me check my email. I know they sent it to me. So we're gonna have that to talk about as well, and everything they're doing over there. Oh yeah, actually I got it right here. So they speak tomorrow. Ryan Poles speaks at 10 o'clock. Ben Johnson speaks tomorrow at 1 o'clock. at the combine. So we're gonna have trade Dante to WVO. Send all your offers. We putting him and his weed on the trading block. We taking away his DoorDash too. But we'll be back on Friday. Gonna talk some combine, get you ready for some free agency. Really coming up, man. So we're gonna get into a whole bunch of stuff. Toast, man, anything you want to promote before we get up out of here?
Yeah, hope we cut Justin Tucker. That's first team all nasty. Nasty, man.
Lock him up.
Disgusting. Yeah, absolutely. Throw him underneath the jail. Disgusting. That's all I got, man. Just, shirtless plantain shows everywhere on YouTube, Instagram, all of that. So that's all.
Definitely. You can follow. So let them know what they can follow you with.
TSNMKND on Twitter. But I need to get off that app. I need to go find God.
If I didn't have this show and the brand, I promise you, I would not be. I try to limit my Twitter usage now. Like if I don't actually have something to say or tweet out, I'm trying to find time on other apps. You know what I'm saying? Like catch me on IG laughing at problematic reels that I just be mentally liking in my head because they show everybody likes now on Twitter. They be snitching on Instagram now. They be having in the corner. Look at the last couple posts your friends like. It could be something super problematic. So I just be laughing in my head and I'll send it to my brother. Like if people see the reels that me and my brother send each other through a course of a day, they lock us up. Like it's to that level, man. So me, Bang, Merk, and Pav be back on Wednesday for a new episode of Summer Sessions. Got a lot of stuff to talk about that. I ran it a little bit on J.Cole at the beginning of the show. I will go full in depth. Enough of these Rodney King, can we all just get along bars? I've had enough whatsoever. And I can't even say this against the light-skinned delegation because like I said earlier in the show, both of them niggas got white mothers. So it's not we're not the same. So I can't we can't even really, that's not on our scoreboard, okay? Chris Brown ain't did nothing crazy in a while. We still got Steph Curry holding us down. So I'm not taking them L's whatsoever. We gonna talk about that. So we get March Madness count. We're gonna do everything. We covering everything. For that 4 months, I'm gonna act like I really know what I'm talking about with college football, college basketball. But I promise you, I'm gonna have guests on here who really know what they talk about. So we will be talking about March Madness. We shouldn't be having any more breaks until after the NBA Finals. So appreciate everybody, man. So follow Bang at JR Bang on all social media platforms. We got a new episode of First Black Champ is up right now, talking about The Rock returning, saying he wants to take Cody Rhodes' soul. Check that out. Monday Night Raw is about to start in 15 minutes. Guys got a new episode. Y'all doing Some Dude tomorrow or y'all not doing one?
Oh, yeah. We doing Some Dude tomorrow.
Some Dude tomorrow. Check it out. Him and the homie Mike B. Like I said, Summer Sessions will be live on the Patreon on Wednesday, and then it will be for everybody who missed the stream. It will be up on Thursday on the Patreon, man. Of course, follow me at Barber Chair Scott on all social media platforms. Follow the Barber's Chair at Barber's Chair Co. on all social media platforms. Subscribe to the Barber's Chair Network at patreon.com/Barber's Chair Network. We've got 3 different tiers. If you just want the 79th and Hallett stuff, by the way, free agency preview episode dropping next week. Me and my brother will preview all of the Bears free agent options. You can subscribe to the $5 holla for that. You can get your episodes early. If you want to just see the I'm Not Gonna Hold You content, subscribe to that tier. If you want just Summer Sessions content, subscribe to that. But if you want everything that we have on the network, Patreon, subscribe to the $10 holla. That is the Barber's Chair All Access tier for everything, man. And if you're a new subscriber, you get 25% off on merchandise at the Barber's Chair Network merchandise store. That is bcnetshop.com. We've got a great shirt dropping for Bears fans within a couple coming weeks. So check all of that out, man. And of course, follow our partners, HB Media, at HB Media TV on Twitter, and at HB Media on Instagram, man. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all week. We're going to holler at y'all on Friday. We up out of here.
Peace.